Hello? Hello? Hi? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me, please? Please, can anybody hear me? Oh god, can anyone hear me? Hello? Please. We're here, not quite as bad. You hear me? Some fuck let it ride. All right, you hear me? Okay. Let's we're gonna see how this shakes out. You can somewhat hear. You can somewhat hear. Okay. Okay. Well, first let me say hello. Hello, hi, friends. Hello, hi. Hello, hi. Hello, Churro. Hello, Prodsy Pod. Hello, Natasha. Mwah, kiss for Natasha. Hello, Crazy Kitty. Hello, Justilence. Hello, Timeishi. Hello, Shade Kaneko. Hello, Kogarin. To obliterate you like that child in the 5G. Please do, actually. My internet's not usually this bad. Even I noticed it wasn't good today. Like, even when I wasn't streaming, it was kind of spotty. So we might have to reschedule to tomorrow. We'll see how it plays. I did see Shinkaneko. I meant to respond, but I did not respond. It was very funny. I have made the same mistake myself in regards to completely fucking my own items by misreading it by a tiny amount. It is very depressing when that happens. I'm gonna try and stream and see how far we can get. If it's complete dog water quality, I might just reschedule for tomorrow, and we'll just do tomorrow. And we do you hear? Please tell me you can hear me. Please tell me you can hear me. Please, please. I'm like I have like 89% dropped frames. Oh no. Oh no. Words, pick up your friend. I'm just. Oh no. Oh no. All right, hold on. Hello? Hi? Hello? Hi? Do you see me? Am I here? Hello? Hello? Please. Please. Hello? Uh, okay. I have not gone over 89% dropped frames, and I'm streaming it like 800 uh bits per second. This is not good. Hi, this is not good. This is not good. This is not. I'm not a ratter. I'm not a ratter. I don't eat rats voluntarily. I've been eating surprise rats. What is that? Oh God, what do you mean? What is that? 800 BPS, baby. Real, true. 800 BPS, dog. It's not good. It's not good. Hi, hello. We gotta go podcast style. Oh man. Oh, should we? And today was I had a whole bit planned out for Women's Day. I'm so sad. I'm so sad. I can't do shit all. I'm so depressed. Let me boot the game up and see how it goes. Says pee pee poo poo pee pee moment. I don't know if we want to like this was supposed to be like a Women's Day bit. I had a whole thing. I had a whole thing planned out for Women's Day. I'm so mad. I'm so mad about it. We were gonna play as a woman. We were gonna recruit like 80 million women in our army. It was gonna be hashtag women. Stop! Don't, Gogarin. I'm gonna take your moderator privileges away. Don't call me that. Council. Yeah, apparently this is like okay. So like I tried to turn a leaf. My ISP hates women. I think it's the other way around. I think my ISP is ran by women, and they've been seeing my latest streams, and they are not happy with how I've been doing things. They are not pleased with the way that I've been talking. Unfortunately, yeah. I'm a little too masculine. I am a little too masculine to only women allowed to stream on Women's Day. So and that actually asked the question, Prod. Where's your stream? Where's your hashtag women's stream today? Huh? Maybe we can get the ladies out here and we'll have Lala and Prod stream for Women's Day. But welcome in AI 1340, by the way. Welcome in. I hope you're doing good. I'm gonna try the game. We're gonna try switching over to the game, and we're gonna see how it looks. If it looks okay, we'll try it. Your wife streaming your stead today. That is fair. That is fair. Maybe if you allowed free speech in work. True. I'm silencing women on Women's Day. I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't. Oh no, Kogrins should be like, this is her day. She should be able to say whatever she wants. All right, we're slowly dropping less frames. We're at 86% drops frames. Surely this will work. Surely this will work. Truly. Truly, we will not be playing Microsoft PowerPoint today. You know, we should allow her to do whatever she wants. Let's see. Okay. How does it look? How does it look? Is it grotesque or is it okay? Chaos reigns. Chaos regnot indeed. How does it look? Does it look like booty balls or is it decent? Incoming cats rant. Like we haven't had enough of those. No, please.
I command here.
We were gonna be playing as like Elsa. I'm 2 FPS. Oh no. Oh no. Alright. Well, I don't have anything else planned. Next PowerPoint slide, Mr. Streamer. Alright, let's go back to just kind of chatting. We'll kind of hang out for a little bit. We'll chat a little bit. We'll get chatty with it, I guess. We'll kind of just relax. It's so bad. Oh no. Oh no, how all your treasures take that Omegaverse quiz? Yeah, why not? Let's talk about the Omegaverse. Wouldn't be eating 30 to 40 olives. Maybe we can do like personality quizzes or something. At least the audio goes. Okay, so if the audio is working, we can at least we can kind of talk. We can kind of talk about stuff. Okay? We can do that. We can do that. The problem is that I have no idea what I would want to talk about because I just didn't have anything planned besides my Women's Day Warhammer bit. Can I read you a Tale of Two Cities? Oh, I can do something like that. Here's what I can do. I can read some horror stories. Let me change up the what we're doing here. I'll read some horror stories. That'll be good. Let's see. In honor of women, we are going to be reading. No, please. Oh, please stop hitting buttons. Oh God, I hit the wrong button on my keyboard and everything's going wrong. Oh Lord. Oh my Lanta. Okay. Need IRS regulations and rules. Should I read zoning permits? Read Don Quixote? Submissive Omega, protective Beta, stoic Omega, then you were caring Beta. Oh, those are good ones. See, like, I got only ever I got an alpha. I'm a Giga Alpha. All right, we're gonna be reading reading horror stories. Hashtag McDonald's internet. Hashtag Wi-Fi soldier. Hashtag women. Should I say? Yeah, we'll just do hashtag women. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to pull up some horror stories that I have downloaded, and we will just read some horror stories, and I will put on some atmosphere, and that'll be good. That'll be fun. I think we can do that. Where are they? I have them around here somewhere. Because Shrimp sent them to me. I just have to find them. How's everybody else doing today, by the way? Read Don Quixote. I don't have Don Quixote. Unfortunately, I don't have Don Quixote. I can read it. If you want to send it to me, I can try to read it, but I don't have it on me. And I don't know how downloading it's going to work right now. Let's see. Where did it go? Is it this one? That's my DMV document. I don't need that. Where did you go? I'll find it. I'm gonna find it. Did I not save this? Horror stories. It should be around. Ooh, oh no, that's something else. You heard your submissive Omega story? Good. Yeah. I mean, like, it's an alpha me. I got alpha. I got loner alpha. I can read allegedly. I got lonesome alpha. Okay. Where the fuck did I put these things? I hope you guys like baby metal. I love baby metal. I haven't listened to baby metal in forever. They're so much fun to listen to, though. Is it in here? Why can I not find these? This is insane scuff. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry that my internet sucks such giga hard dick today. But we're gonna see if we can make it work. We're gonna see if we can make it work. Is it in here? Okay, I might have to find it from somewhere else. Let's see. Hold on. Bear with me. The carry part's a given, but it's good to know which class you guys because you times exactly. So, do I think Sancho Panza's an Uke or a Seme? I'll be honest with you. I think he's a switch. I think it depends on whatever Don Quixote is doing at the time. Let's see. Let's see. We're gonna read. Ooh, we're gonna read this. We'll read some Shirley Jackson stories. Those are good. Let's see. We're gonna read Dark Tales, Shirley Jackson, and we'll read The Haunting of Hill House. We'll try that. We'll try it. We'll see how that pans out. Okay, can you guys still hear me? Am I still coming in okay? Or have I like gone completely fucking sideways? We're gonna start with this one. So this has like 80 kajillion pages. Here. You can hear me okay? Hello Soup, by the way. Welcome in. I'm gonna shrink myself down a little bit. I'm going to window stories. Okay. So this is what we're gonna do instead. We're gonna read some horror stories. I'm gonna make it a little bigger so you guys can see it, and I will do my best to be a good voice actor. When's House of Leaves? I could not do House of Leaves justice. I could never do House of Justice. House of Justice? House of Leaves justice. Okay. Let me just tweet out that my internet's fucked and we're doing something else. Okay. And let's get some we're not going to play baby metal. We're going to play Stormy Night audio. Stormy weather ambiance. There we go. Okay. This might be really super duper loud, so I'm sorry. Yeah, that's too loud. Okay, let's turn that down. All right. Okay, chat. Now we're here. All right, everybody settle in, get cozy. We're gonna read a little bit of some horror stories here. We're gonna see how far we get. Maybe we'll do a couple hours. Who knows? But hashtag women, hashtag horror, hashtag. See, we're even reading a girl author. It's perfect. It's perfect. All right. So we can read. We're not going to read this because I don't care about this. But we're going to start with, let's see. We got some contents. We got The Possibility of Evil, Louisa, Please Come Home, Paranoia, The Honeymoon of Mrs. Smith, The Story We Used to Tell, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, Jack the Ripper, The Beautiful Stranger, All She Said Was Yes, and then some other ones. Can we read My Immortal? Hello, Kinski. Welcome in. Maybe My Immortal can be saved for a different day. Maybe that'll be like a dedicated. Maybe we'll do that. You've been thinking about her again? About oh God, what was it? It was like Ebony, Raven, Dementia, Darkness Way, I think was what it was. Why do you see those hands? You think of Lady Dimitrescu? It's probably the fact that they're just like gray. It's the gray and the red. Maybe it's the frilly little lace. I should wear things that have frilly lace. I think they're cute. Make sure I give good readings, no interruption between periods with good stops. I will do my best, Churl. Don't stop. I'm gonna try. I'll try my best. I haven't read any of these ahead of time, so I have no idea how to do the. I'm not sure how it's gonna flow perfectly exactly, but I'll try. I'll do voices too. I'll do voices, and it'll be Ebony Darkness Dementia Raven Way. Exactly. You know what? She lives inside of our hearts. Maybe we'll do that for like for Halloween or for next year's Women's Day. Unfortunately, for Women's Day, we could not play as a woman, so we're gonna read a story by a woman, which is kind of the same thing, if you ask me. We're gonna start with the possibility of evil. Okay, so I have no idea what any of these are about, but I do know that they are horror stories at the very least, and they might contain some graphic description, and they might contain some unsettling topics. Just so you guys are aware. Oh, did you lose me again? Am I here? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? 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 Hi. Thank you for the follow, cheese person, by the way. Insane. Insane that I got a follow on today of all days. Welcome in. Yes, that's why we have McDonald's internet. Am I down? Question mark. Can you guys hear me? Hi. Hello? Hi. Text? Am I down? Yes, text. Hello, yes. Can you guys hear me? Hello, Agumi. Welcome in. Can you guys? Audio is cutting. Bubby is down. Oh no. Oh no. Am I back? Am I back? Can you hear me? Am I just completely down? Oh man, this is so grim. It's so fucking grim. Just let me know if you guys can hear me. And I'll try to read a little bit. Dying harder now? Fuck off. No. No, die hard, man. I want to be Wi-Fi live, man. No. Hi, man opener. Hi. Hi, hello. It's working fine for you. There's just a delay. Okay. Okay. We're gonna try and keep going. We're gonna see how it works. Wife live. Wife. Okay. If it still is fucked, we try tomorrow. Okay. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try reading the story. If you guys are not hearing anything, if the audio's cutting out, if it's really just pretty much unintelligible, please let me know. And I'll just kind of turn things around and we'll do stuff tomorrow. All right, so we're gonna try and read. You hear me again? Good. Okay. Miss Adela Strangeworth stepped daintily along Main Street on her way to the grocery. The sun was shining. The air was fresh and clear after the night's heavy rain. Everything in Miss Strangeworth's little town looked washed and bright. Miss Strangeworth took deep breaths, and thought there was nothing in the world like a fragrant summer day. She knew everyone in town, of course. She was fond of telling strangers, tourists who sometimes passed through the town and stopped to admire Miss Strangeworth's roses, that she had never spent more than a day outside this town in all her long life. She was 71, Miss Strangeworth told the tourist, with a pretty little dimple showing by her lip, and she sometimes found herself thinking that the town belonged to her. My grandfather built the first house on Pleasant Street, she would say, opening her blue eyes wide with the wonder of it. This house, right here. My family has lived here for better than 100 years. My grandmother planted these roses, and my mother tended them, just as I do. I've watched my town grow. I can remember when Mr. Lewis Sr. opened the grocery store, and the year the river flooded out the shanties on the low road, and the excitement when some young folks wanted to move the park over to the space in front of where the new post office is today. They wanted to put up a statue of Ethan Allen. Miss Strangeworth would frown a little and sound stern, but it should have been a statue of my grandfather. There wouldn't have been a town here at all if it hadn't been for my grandfather and the lumber mill. Miss Strangeworth never gave away any of her roses, although the tourists often asked her. The roses belonged on Pleasant Street, and it bothered Miss Strangeworth to think of people wanting to carry them away, to take them into strange towns and down strange streets. When the new minister came, and the ladies were gathering flowers to decorate the church, Miss Strangeworth sent over a great basket of gladioli. Gladioli? When she picked the roses at all, she set them in bowls and vases around the inside of her house her grandfather had built. Walking down Main Street on a summer morning, Miss Strangeworth had to stop every minute or so to say good morning to someone or to ask after someone's health. When she came into the grocery, half a dozen people turned away from the shelves and the counters to wave at her or to call out good morning. And good morning to you too, Mr. Lewis, Miss Strangeworth said at last. The Lewis family had been in town almost as long as the Strangeworths, but the day young Lewis left high school and went to work in the grocery, Miss Strangeworth had stopped calling him Tommy and started calling him Mr. Lewis. And he had stopped calling her Addie and started calling her Miss Strangeworth. How's it coming through, guys? Is the audio okay? Or is it still pretty borked? Is it still good or kinda fucked? Is it still good or is it kinda fucked? Because if it's mostly okay. All right. Okay. Still glitchy. Okay. It's okay. All right. Good. Okay. It's okay. I don't think we're gonna be able to play anything, but we'll read. It's bearable. I try to put on the most bearable stream on Twitch.com. If you can sit in here, you can tolerate it. Then by God, I've done what I wanted. Oh man. They had been in high school together and had gone to picnics together and to high school dances and basketball games. But now Mr. Lewis was behind the counter in the grocery and Miss Strangeworth was living alone in the Strangeworth house on Pleasant Street. The fuck is Twitch.com? Listen, man, if I knew. It's Twitch.tv. I'm sorry. It's here on Twitch.tv. Twitch.television. I'm so sorry. It's not Twitch.commercial. 100% bearability. It's crazy. And we were gonna play the faction that you could have war bears. We were gonna play Kislev, which has bear units that you could use. It would have been perfect. It would have been so bearable. We would have had bears everywhere. But no, I'm denied. I'm denied by my ISP. Brutalized. Okay. Good morning, Mr. Lewis said, and added politely, "Lovely day."
It's a very nice day.
Oh, should I do like a voice like that, or should I just read normally? Do you guys want voices, or you just want like my regular like smooth and silky manner of speaking? Would you guys want like silly voices? 0% bear. Yeah, we've got 0% bearability. But you can bear with us at least a little bit. Maybe because I can't do a girl's voice that's not high pitched, or that's not like a Southern belle. Goodness me. What in blazes? You know, I can't. I feel like for a horror story, I probably shouldn't do like funny voices. Maybe we should just be serious about it. It's a very nice day, Miss Strangeworth said, as though she had only just decided that it would do after all. I would like a chop, please, Mr. Lewis. A small, lean veal chop. Are those strawberries from Arthur Parker's garden? They're early this year. He brought them in this morning, Mr. Lewis said. I shall have a box, Miss Strangeworth said. Mr. Lewis looked worried, she thought, and for a minute she hesitated, but then she decided surely he could not be worried over the strawberries. For my naturally shrill and rickety voice, the natural voice of somebody you hear shouting from beneath your tires as you back up in the grocery store. You back up and you hit somebody, you hear, you hit me with your car! And that's me, and you're just kind of like, man, that's a really angry, loud chipmunk that I'm hearing underneath the wheels. And you just keep going, and I'm lying there bleeding out in the street. It's fine. It's whatever. But I know when you prefer that voice, we'll do that one. Give the woman the deepest voice. Okay. If this wasn't like a horror story, I probably would. But it's like I don't want it. Like if the story comes on and this woman is getting like, I don't know, like brutalized by like a horrendous beast, I don't want to be being like doing this awful grotesquerie imitation of a woman on Women's Day of all days. She has to have the proper voice. I'll be respectful. He surely could not be worried over the strawberries. He looked very tired indeed. He was usually so... Can I read the Fnaf Mpreg story? Hi, Woozle? No. I'm gonna veto that one. I'm sorry. Now, if you were a woman asking me that, I'd consider it, because it is #Women's Day. but you are not, so I will deny you. The what? Yeah, the Fnaf Mpreg story. You get used to it. He was usually so chipper, Miss Strangeworth thought and almost commented, but it was far too personal a subject to be introduced to Mr. Lewis, the grocer. So she only said, and a can of cat food, and, I think, a tomato. Hold on, let me get a woman. The funny thing is, we have the exact perfect woman to request that of me, and she's my moderator, but I think like, she's busy doing other stuff right now, because her computer's exploded. Mine immediately goes to him being brutalized by beasts. Really shows what goes on in his sick, goopy head. It's a horror story! What if there's some kind of, like, awful beastie, and it kills people, and it kills a woman, you know? Like, that's what happens in horror stories. There's awful monsters, and they kill people. Right? What do you mean? It's me! Come on. No. Woman inbound. UAV inbound. It's like, woman inbound. Harmos, not for me. What the fuck? What the hell? I swear, I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to be good. Horror for most. Oh yeah. For me, it's like it's action packed. Hello, CC. You brought CC of all people. The high CC. Are you aware of the Fnaf Mpreg story? It's an official work. You know what, CC? Oh my goodness, it's Cece Hime. It is Cece Hime. She's a wonderful little Cyclops VTuber. She's very cute. And she's here to ask me to read Fnaf Mpreg. I will tell you what, Cece. After we read this story, it's a short story, we will read the Fnaf Mpreg story. On the condition that you make sure Woozle stays here the whole time. Alright? Woozle has to stay here the whole time. Alright? That's the only condition. Alright? Also, I need to know how long the story is, because if it's like 800 million pages, I'm gonna do like half, maybe. So we'll do that. If you wanna DM it to me, you can do that, and I'll take a look at it. Silently, Mr. Lewis. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Woozle. Yeah, Woozle. I don't think so. You know, Woozle. Don't you fucking waffle out on this. No welching on this deal, Woozle. Trap him in the cube. Hello, Omocide. Bad. Exactly. Hello, Omocide. Welcome in. What a first message from CC. It's good. It's a good one. Oh, hold on. Let me let's. We got a check mark in here. We're gonna pin that one up there. It's not that long. All right. We gotta make sure people know who requested it. We gotta know people that it was a request from a hashtag woman. Woozle shall supply me. All right. You heard her, Woozle. Get cracking. Get the crystal prism. Yeah, we're gonna trap her in Tupac's whack ass crystal prison, or trap Woozle. I'm sorry. Let me read this story though. I'll read this story while you're looking for it. Silently, Mr. Lewis assembled her order on the counter and waited. Miss Strangeworth looked at him curiously and then said, "It's Tuesday, Mr. Lewis. You forgot to remind me." "Did I? Sorry." "Imagine you're forgetting that I always buy my tea on Tuesday," Miss Strangeworth said gently. "A quarter pound of tea, please, Mr. Lewis." "Is that all, Miss Strangeworth?" "Yes, thank you, Mr. Lewis. Such a lovely day, isn't it?" "Lovely," Mr. Lewis said. "Hi, Eli." Mwah. Miss Strangeworth moved slightly to make room for Mrs. Harper at the counter. "Morning, Adela," Miss Harper said. And Miss Strangeworth said, "Good morning, Martha." "Lovely day," Miss Harper said, and Miss Strangeworth added, "Yes, lovely." "Hello, Gigi Badger. Hello, how you doing?" Gelteran, yippee, indeed. Indeed, we love Gelteran, we love Gigi Badger. Hello. I hope you're doing good. I hope you're doing well. We're going to be reading some Fnaf Mpreg later, so stick around. But we're reading a short little story first here. How long is this one? This is, if this is really long, this is a pretty long story. Not too bad. Not too bad. It's Tuesday? It is not Tuesday, friend. It is not Tuesday. Where are we? God, I lost where I was. Fuck. Okay, I'm a professional. I'm such a good streamer. To be fair, we were supposed to be playing Total Warhammer tonight. Okay, my internet just shit the bed. Yes. "Ran out of sugar for my cake frosting," Miss Harper explained. Her hand shook slightly as she opened her pocketbook. Miss Strangeworth wondered, glancing at her quickly, if she had been taking proper care of herself. Martha Harper was not as young as she used to be, Miss Strangeworth thought. She could probably use a good, strong tonic. Wasn't tonic, like, a term for, like, booze back in the day? Open my dmussy up. Fucking send it, Woozle, alright? God damn it. Martha, you don't look well. I'm perfectly alright, Miss Harper said shortly. She handed her money to Mr. Lewis, took her change and her sugar, and went out without speaking again. Looking after her, Miss Strangeworth shook her head slightly. Martha definitely did not look well. Carrying her little bag of groceries, Miss Strangeworth came out of the store into the bright sunlight and stopped to smile down on the Crane baby. Dawn and Helen Crane were really the two most infatuated young parents she had ever known, she thought indulgently, looking at that delicately embroidered baby cap and the lace-edged carriage cover. That little girl is going to grow up expecting luxury all her life, she said to Helen Crane. It's Spiritually Tuesday. Don't ask me to elaborate that because you don't know how. I feel like if your Saturday is Spiritually Tuesday, you are in the trenches. You are suffering on ways that like not to like mention Fallujah twice in 1 week, but like you are mentally in Fallujah if your Saturday is a Spiritual Tuesday. Like, I'm sorry. I don't know what else to tell you. Thank you Woozle for the fucking Mpreg fig. Thank you. I hope your Tuesday is. I hope your Saturday is better, AI. I'm sorry to hear that. That's the way we want her to feel. Helen said, like a princess. A princess can be a lot of trouble sometimes, Miss Stranger said dryly. How old is Her Highness now? 6 months next Tuesday, Helen Crane said, looking down with rapt wonder at her child. I've been worrying, though, about her. Don't you think she ought to move around more? Try to sit up, for instance? For plain and fancy worrying, Miss Strangeworth said. Give me a new mother every time. She just seems slow, Helen Crane said. Nonsense. All babies are different. Some of them develop much more quickly than others. That's what my mother says, Helen Crane laughed, looking a little bit ashamed. I suppose you've got young Don all upset about the fact that his daughter's already 6 months old and hasn't yet begun to learn to dance. I haven't mentioned it to him. I suppose she's just so precious that I worry about her all the time. Well, apologize to her right now, Miss Strangeworth said. She is probably worrying about why you keep jumping around all the time. Smiling to herself and shaking her old head, she went on down the sunny street, stopping once to ask little Billy Moore why he wasn't out riding in his daddy's shiny new car and talking for a few minutes outside the library with Miss Chandler, the librarian, about the new novels to be ordered and paid for by the annual library appropriation. Miss Chandler seemed absent-minded and very much as though she was thinking of something else. Maybe she was thinking about Fnaf Mpreg. It's called In the Flesh. That's grotesque. That's awful. All right. Well, we've got it downloaded. We've got our Fnaf Mpreg downloaded, so that'll be after this story. We'll go to that next. All right. Many people seemed to... Oh, sorry. She noticed that Miss Chandler had not taken much trouble with her hair that morning, and sighed. Miss Strangeworth hated sloppiness. Many people seemed disturbed recently, Miss Strangeworth thought. Only yesterday, the steward's 15-year-old Linda had run crying down her own front walk, and all the way to school, not caring who saw her. People around town thought she might have had a fight with the Harris boy, but they showed up together at the soda shop after school as usual, both of them looking grim and bleak. Yeah, Woozle, you're welcome. You make sure you thank Cece for that, by the way, and I expect to see you here the whole time. For making me read Fnaf Mpreg. Trouble at home, people concluded, and sighed over the problems of trying to raise kids right these days. From halfway down the block, Miss Strangeworth could catch the heavy accent of her roses, and she moved a little more quickly. The perfume of roses meant home, and home meant the Strangeworth house on Pleasant Street. Miss Strangeworth stopped at her own front gate as she always did, and looked with deep pleasure at her house, with the red and pink and white roses massed along the narrow lawn, and the rambler going up along the porch, and the unbelievably trim lines of the house itself, with its slimness and whitewashed look. Every window sparkled, every curtain hung stiff and straight, and even the stones of the front walk were swept and clear. People around town wondered how old Miss Strangeworth managed to keep the house looking the way it did. And there was a legend about a tourist once mistaking it for the local museum and going all through the place without finding out about his mistake. But the town was proud of Miss Strangeworth and her roses and her house. It's really funny though. I mean, I'll do the voices for the Mpreg. I'll do the voices for the Mpreg fic. I mean, do we want to just switch right away over to it? You have it on audiobook for when you get insomnia. You're a psychopath. Do we want to just switch right over to it? Do we want to just switch right over to the to the Mpreg fic? Do we want to, or do we want to do this? Do we want to just swap right away? Are we not interested in the horror story? We can do that. You can't switch over. You need to go get food soon. All right, we'll keep reading Shirley Jackson for a little bit. We'll switch over in a little while. Mpreg, yeah. We were gonna play Total War, Shrimp. Hi, Shrimp. Welcome. We were gonna play Total War, but my internet's being really shitty, and I can't stream a game. So we're reading some stories. We started with some horror stories by Shirley Jackson, and then I was told to read an Mpreg fic by a woman. Redeem a Tilly? Yeah, let's have a Tilly. Where's my Tilly? There you go, there's a Tilly. So Cece showed up, and because she's a woman and it's hashtag Woman Day, I was requested to read Fnaf Mpreg fic, so we're going to be doing that in a little bit. After we finish this story. But the town was proud of Miss Strangeworth and her roses and her house. They had all grown together. Miss Strangeworth went up her front steps, unlocked her front door with her key, and went up into the kitchen to put away her groceries. She debated having a cup of tea and decided it was too close to midday dinner time. She would not have the appetite for her little chop if she had tea now. Instead, she went into the light, lovely sitting room, which still glowed from the hands of her mother and her grandmother, who had covered the chairs with bright chintz and hung the curtains. All the furniture was spare and shining, and the round hooked rugs on the floor had been the work of Miss Strangeworth's grandmother and her mother. Hashtag feminism women. True. I mean, if anything, listen, if the women who work in my ISP would stop bullying me, then I'll do whatever they want. I'll do whatever they want to make my internet work again. All the furniture was spare and shining, and the round hooked rugs on the floor had been the work of Miss Strangeworth's grandmother and mother. Miss Strangeworth had put a bowl of her red roses on the low table before the window, and the room was full of their scent. Miss Strangeworth went to the narrow desk in the corner and unlocked it with her key. She never knew when she might feel like writing letters, so she kept her notepaper inside and the desk locked. Miss Strangeworth's usual stationery was heavy and cream-colored, with Strangeworth House engraved across the top. But when she felt like writing her other letters, Miss Strangeworth used a pad of various colored paper brought from the local newspaper shop. You love this story? Yeah, I took this one. You sent this one to me, so I was gonna do horror stories, like I said, but you know we'll have a change of topic in a little bit. It was almost a town joke, that colored paper, layered in pink and green and blue and yellow. Everyone in town bought it and used it for odd and formal notes and shopping lists. It was usual to remark upon receiving a note written on a blue page that so-and-so would be needing a new pad soon. Here she was, down to the blue already. Everyone used the matching envelopes for tucking away recipes, or keeping odd little things in, or even to hold cookies in the school lunchboxes. Mr. Lewis sometimes gave them to the children for carrying home penny candy. Although Miss Strangeworth's desk held a trimmed quill pen, which had belonged to her grandfather, and a gold frost fountain pen, which had belonged to her father, Miss Strangeworth always used a dull stub of pencil when she wrote her letters, and she printed them on a childish block print. After thinking for a minute, although she had been phrasing the letter in the back of her mind all the way home, she wrote on a pink sheet, "Didn't you ever see an idiot child before? Some people just shouldn't have children, should they?" She was pleased with the letter. She was fond of doing things exactly right. When she made a mistake, as she sometimes did, or when the letters were not spaced nicely on the page, she had to take the discarded to the page of the kitchen stove and burn it at once. Miss Strangeworth never delayed when things had to be done. After thinking for a minute, she decided she would like to write another letter, perhaps to go to Mrs. Harper to follow up the one she had already mailed. She selected a green sheet this time and wrote quickly, "Have you found out yet what they were all laughing about after you left the bridge club on Thursday? Or is the wife really always the last one to know? Damn, this girl's a bitch. Fuck you, Strangeworth." Miss Strangeworth never concerned herself with facts. Her letters all dealt with the more negotiable stuff of suspicion. Mr. Lewis would never have imagined for a minute that his grandson might be lifting petty cash from the store register if he had not had one of Miss Strangeworth's letters. Miss Chandler, the librarian, and Linda Stewart's parents would have gone unsuspectingly ahead with their lives, never aware of possible evil lurking nearby, if Miss Strangeworth had not sent letters to open their eyes. Miss Strangeworth would have been genuinely shocked if there had been anything between Linda Stewart and the Harris boy. But as long as evil existed unchecked in the world, it was Miss Strangeworth's duty to keep her town alert to it. It was far more sensible for Miss Chandler to wonder what Mr. Shelley's first wife had really died of than to take the chance on not knowing. There were so many wicked people in the world, and only one Strangeworth left in town. Besides, Miss Strangeworth liked writing her letters. She addressed an envelope to Don Crane after a moment's thought, wondering curiously if he would show the letter to his wife, and using a pink envelope to match the pink paper. Then she addressed a second envelope, green, to Mrs. Harper. Then, an idea, Miss Strangeworth didn't like facts, and she was a pissed child at them. Yeah, Miss Strangeworth didn't like facts, and she was also a huge bitch for no fucking reason whatsoever, by the way. Thank you, Shirley Jackson, for giving us a story about this awful old lady. Fucking nightmare. The worst thing is that people like this exist. That's the shittiest part. Then an idea came to her, and she selected a blue sheet and wrote, "You never know about doctors. Remember, they're only human and need money like the rest of us. Suppose the knife slipped, accidentally. Would Dr. Burns get his fee and a little extra from that nephew of yours?" She addressed the blue envelope to old Mrs. Foster, who was having an operation next month. She had thought of writing one more letter to the head of the school board, asking how a chemistry teacher like Billy Moore's father could afford a new convertible. But all at once she was tired of writing letters. She's so awful, she's such a bitch for no fucking reasons. This actually, hashtag girl boss, by the way. Miss Strangeworth is a girl boss. You love to see it. She's using girl power to disrupt its traditional patriarchal power dynamics in her town. Hashtag women. Hell yeah. The 3 she had done would do for one day. She could write more tomorrow. It was not as though they all had to be done at once. She had been writing her letters, sometimes 2 or 3 every day, for a week, sometimes no more than 1 in a month, for the past year. She never got any answers, of course, because she never signed her name. If she had been asked, she would have said that her name, Adela Strangeworth, a name honored in the town for so many years, did not belong on such trash. The town where she lived had to be kept clean and sweet, but people everywhere were lustful and evil and degraded and needed to be watched. The world was so large, and there was only one Strangeworth left in it. Miss Strangeworth sighed, locked her desk, and put the letters in her big black leather pocketbook, to be mailed when she took her evening walk. Legit got madder and madder as I read the story. She's just straight up bullying infant children. Yeah, I can tell I'm gonna get really fucking mad. I hope she gets beaten to death with a brick at the end. Probably not, though. She broiled her little chop nicely and had a sliced tomato and a good cup of tea ready when she sat down to her midday dinner at the table in her dining room, which could be open to seat 22, with a second table, if necessary, in the hall. Sitting in the warm sunlight that came through the tall windows of the dining room, seeing her roses massed outside, handling the heavy old silverware and the fine translucent china, Miss Strangeworth was pleased. She would not have cared to be doing anything else. People must live graciously, after all, she thought, and sipped her tea. Afterward, when her plate and cup and saucer were washed and dried and put back onto the shelves where they belonged, and her silverware was back in the mahogany silver chest, Miss Strangeworth went up the graceful staircase and into her bedroom, which was the first room overlooking the roses, and had been her mother's and her grandmother's. Their crown derby dresser set and furs had been kept here, their fans and silver-backed brushes and their own bowls of roses. Miss Strangeworth kept a bowl of white roses on the bed table. And now she's watching people from the bushes. Hopefully she's a nice surprise of a pigeon that shits in her hair. Yeah, I hope we get the classic magician's brick at the end of this story. Who knows? Let me take a little sippy though. I didn't expect to be doing this much talking. Well, I mean, I always do talking, but this is like reading is different. She drew the shades, took the rose satin spread from the bed, slipped out of her dress and her shoes, and laid down tiredly. She knew that no doorbell or phone would ring. No one in town would dare to disturb Miss Strangeworth during her afternoon nap. She slept deep in the rich smell of roses. The ending is pretty good, you'll say that much? Oh, hell yeah. Sending letters just to make people paranoid their relatives are paying off doctors to fuck up their surgeries on purpose is a next level hater. Twitter users wish they could be this level of utter cockswab. Cockswab's a good one, yeah. No, this is like supreme hater behavior, and for like no reason. She's just like, what if people were actually being mean to each other? Let me make sure that I make shit up out of whole cloth to make everybody paranoid and hateful. Hell yeah. Now that's how a society should run. She is Twitter true. True. This is just Shirley Jackson predicted the average Twitter user in this story. Holy moly. Holy moly. Where was I? After her nap, She worked in her garden for a little while, sparing herself because of the heat. Then she went in for supper. She ate asparagus from her own garden with sweet butter sauce and a soft-boiled egg. And while she had her supper, she listened to a late evening news broadcast and then to a program of classical music on her small radio. Based? I mean, fucking about to be based into an early grave, maybe, is what I'm gonna say. I hate this woman. Oh, no, I can't say that. It's Woman Day. Fuck. I love this woman. She's #girlboss. After her dishes were done in the kitchen and her kitchen set in order, she took up her hat. Miss Strangeworth's hats were proverbial in the town. People believed she inherited them from her mother and grandmother, and, locking the front door of her house behind her, set off on her evening walk, pocketbook under her arm. She nodded to Linda Stewart's father, who was washing his car in the pleasantly cool evening. She thought that he looked troubled. And there was only one place in town where she could mail her letters, and that was the new post office, based in the face with a brick. Exactly. Fucking... I think aren't really strong bases also as dangerous as acids? She can be based in terms of, melting the side of her fucking teeth off. You know what we gotta do to this woman? We gotta scrape all of her enamel away. We gotta tie her down to a chair, open her mouth, and scrape away all the enamel on her teeth, and then feed her ice cream. That's what you gotta do. That's a good torture method. Where was I? A new post office, shiny with red brick and silver letters. Although Miss Strangeworth had never given the matter any particular thought, she always made a point of mailing her letters very secretly. It would, of course, not been wise to let anyone see her mail them. The man who thinks his daughter's being stalked is troubled. Who would have thunk? Yeah, no. Who would have thought, fucking insane woman? Not you, Miss Strangeworth. Shrimp, you're insane in your own way, but you're not like a psychotic, Miss Strangeworth style Twitter poster. Giga hater. She timed her walk so she could just reach the post office just as darkness was starting to dim the outline of the trees and the shapes of people's faces, although no one could ever mistake Miss Strangeworth, with her dainty walk and her rustling skirts. There was always a group of young people around the post office, the very youngest roller skating upon its driveway, which went all the way around the building and was the only smooth road in town, and the slightly older ones already knowing how to gather in small groups and chatter and laugh and make great excited plans for going across the street to the soda shop in a minute or two. Miss Strangeworth had never had any self-consciousness before the children. She did not feel that any of them were staring at her unduly or longing to laugh at her. It would have been most reprehensible for their parents to permit their children to mock Miss Strangeworth at Pleasant Street. Make her skin goo with bleach and turn her to edible cookies? Oh, don't do that to the kids. No way. Don't do that to the kids. Don't deserve that. Yeah, she'd probably be like, ooh, what a wonderfully proper plan. Wow, how sophisticated of you. I think we just toss her into a ditch, probably. Most of the children stood back respectfully as Miss Strangeworth passed, silenced briefly in her presence, and some of the older children greeted her, saying soberly, "Hello, Miss Strangeworth." Miss Strangeworth smiled at them and quickly went on. It had been a long time since she had known the name of every children in town. The mail slot was in the door of the post office. The children stood away as Miss Strangeworth approached it, seemingly surprised that anyone should want to use the post office after it had been officially closed up for the night, and turned over to the children. Miss Strangeworth stood by the door, opening her black pocketbook to take out the letters, and she heard a voice which she knew at once to be Linda Stewart's. Poor little Linda was crying again, and Miss Strangeworth listened carefully. This was, after all, her town, and these were her people. If one of them was in trouble, she ought to know about it. Maybe just throw her off a cliff. Yeah, maybe we just toss her off a cliff. We could be a little unceremonious about it. I can't tell you, Dave, Linda was saying, so she was talking to the Harris boy, as Miss Strangeworth had supposed. I just can't. It's just nasty. But why won't your father let me come around anymore? What on earth did I do? I can't tell you. I just wouldn't tell you for anything. You've got to have a dirty, dirty mind for things like that. But something's happened. You've been crying, and your father's all upset. Why can't I know about it too? Aren't I like one of the family? Not anymore, Dave. Not anymore. You're not to come near our house again. My father said so. He said he'd horsewhip you. That's all I can tell you. You're not to come near our house anymore. But I didn't do anything. Just the same, my father said. Miss Strangeworth sighed and turned away. There was so much evil in people. Even in a charming little town like this one, there was still so much evil in people. She slipped her letters into the slot, and 2 of them fell inside. The third caught on the edge and fell outside, onto the ground at Miss Strangeworth's feet. She did not notice it because she was wondering whether a letter to the Harris boy's father might not be of some service in wiping out this potential badness. The fact that she doesn't immediately suspect the kids know is funny. Yeah, no, it's like it's very like I do like that, like she I think she very much thinks like she's actually doing a service or something, but everyone's just like, man, this old bitch is a fucking nightmare. Warily, Miss Strangeworth turned to go home to her quiet bed in her lovely house and never heard the Harris boy calling up to her to say that she had dropped something. Old Lady Strangeworth's getting deaf, he said, looking after her and holding in his hand the letter he had picked up. Well, who cares? Linda said. Who cares anymore anyway? It's for Don Crane, the Harris boy said, this letter. She dropped a letter addressed to Don Crane. Might as well take it on over. We pass his house anyway, he laughed. Maybe it's got a check or something in it, and he'd be just as glad to get it tonight instead of tomorrow. Catch Old Lady Strangeworth sending anybody a check, Linda said. Throw it in the post office. Why do anyone a favor? She sniffed. Doesn't seem to me anybody around here cares about us, she said. Why should we care about them? I'll take it over anyway, the Harris boy said. Maybe it's good news for them. Maybe they need something happy tonight too, like us. Sadly, holding hands, they wandered off down the dark street, the Harris boy carrying Miss Strangeworth's pink envelope in his hand. Ooh, I like where it's going. I like where it's going. Miss Strangeworth awakened the next morning with a feeling of intense happiness, and for a minute wondered why. Then she remembered that this morning, 3 people would open her letters. Harsh perhaps at first, but wickedness was never easily banished, and a clean heart was a scoured heart. She washed her soft old face and brushed her teeth, still sound in spite of her 71 years, and dressed herself carefully in her sweet, soft clothes and buttoned shoes. Then, going downstairs, reflecting that perhaps a little waffle would be agreeable for breakfast in the sunning dining room, she found the mail on the hall floor and bent to pick it up. A bill, the morning paper, a letter in a green envelope that looked oddly familiar. Miss Strangeworth stood perfectly still for a minute, looking down at the green envelope with the pencil printing, and thought, it looks like one of my letters. Was one of my letters sent back? No, because no one would know where to send it. How did this get here? Miss Strangeworth was a Strangeworth of Pleasant Street. Her hands did not shake as she opened the green envelope and unfolded the sheet of green paper inside. She began to cry silently for the wickedness of the world when she read the words, "Look out at what used to be your roses." Got this bitch! We fucking got her! We got her, chat! She'll never send rude letters again! Old lady annihilated! True story, Miss Strangeworth was writing this simply as an ego boost. I mean, people like this exist out there. Like, this is not even that far-fetched of a story to be true. You know, like, I'm not even, like, if you told me that this actually happened, I wouldn't even be shocked, you know? Alright. Now, Woozle. Woozle, are you here? This is 148 pages. I don't know if I'm going to get through all of this, but we'll try. We will try. Woozle, are you here? Sound off. Hag destroyed. Hag obliterated. You know, hashtag win for the patriarchy. Alright. Everybody at Woozle, please. Everybody at Woozle. We gotta know that motherfucker's here. We're gonna read Five Nights at Freddy's Mpreg now. All right, title page. Bunny. Okay, so it's a short story that's in the flesh. These are 3 different stories. Okay, so this one's not as long. Okay, Hag discombobulated. Hag turned inside out. All right. Where are you at? Oh, Churl, congratulations on the pregnancy. I'm so happy for you. Oh, I'm so happy for you, Churl. Wow. Alright. At Woozle, we're reading his Mpreg, his Fnaf Mpreg. Alright, where are you, Woozle? Also, let me ping Kogrin. She'll like this one. Okay. Where's Woozle? Where the fuck is Woozle? In the meantime, I mean, like, Churro got preggers, let's go. Hello, Scholarly Frog. Welcome in, Scholarly Frog. Hello. Friend of the channel, Mr. Frog. How are you doing? I saw you playing, I think it was Caves of Cud the other day. I've kind of been looking at that game, but I don't think I would get really mad about it. There was news of a weirdo stalker in some subdivision in California that started sending letters to a new family that moved in, talking about how they were watching them and the observations they made about their kids. And when the family brought it up at the HOA meeting, the entire street was like, "Don't talk about it, ignore it, shut up." That's so fucked up. Holy shit. Why would you not talk about it? Why wouldn't you, like, witch hunt this motherfucker and string him up and like string him up on a cross? Refuse to do that command, you lose your shit if you get hit with a reversal. Hey, you know, it's in this world, it's preg or be pregged. You know, it's hashtag preg or be pregged, right? All right, we're gonna start reading our In the Flesh. We're gonna start reading our Fnaf Mpreg story. Okay. You're so lucky. Oh, let's do voices. How are we gonna do this one? You're so lucky. You just get to sit around and play video games all day. Wow, the double reverse pregnant. Congratulations, Omo. You're gonna look so beautiful, big and round. You're so lucky. You just get to sit around and play video games all day. If Matt had $1 for every time someone had said this to him, he could actually sit around and play video games all day instead of going to the office and working on developing things. Game development was harder than people thought. It was a great job. The job Matt had always dreamed of back when he was a kid pretending to be sick, so he could stay home from school and make simple games on his family home computer. But there was a huge difference between working on games and playing them. Many parts of the process were exhilarating. That first burst of inspiration when an idea came to you, the triumphant moment when you saw all your plans come to fruition. But between first inspiration and final fulfillment, there was lots of opportunities for head-banging frustration and punching a fist through the wall rage. I still have to pay Alloy. Hello, Crespian C. Welcome in. You got in here just in time, Crespian. We're reading Fnaf Mpreg. HOA providing nothing positive to anyone. Yeah, it's not good. Thank you for the sippy, Crespian. HOA's, like... Although I will say, like, HOAs can be good in, like, if they have, like, low amounts of power. But, like, the ones where they can, get all up in your business are awful. Thank you for the sippy, Crespian. I hope you're doing well tonight. Alimony is for divorcees. What you mean is child support? True, actually. I would never divorce the mother and or father of my children. I'll pay child support, though. One small programming error could mess up a whole game. What? Wait, pronounce what is one word? Wait, pronounce what is one word? And backtracking to try to identify such an error was incredibly tedious. People who loved to play games often thought their skills in gaming gave them the skills to design games as well. But this wasn't any truer than thinking that since you knew how to read a good book, you also knew how to write one. Oh, HOA? I mean, yeah, it's a HOA. You know, that's where you know why it's called a HOA? Homeowners Association. That's where those HOAs be at. You know? That's what it is. The HOAs. For now, Matt was eating, sleeping, and breathing his job. He had landed the role of creating and refining the AI in Springtrap's Revenge. Oh, Bubby down, rest in peace, Soup. A new cutting-edge virtual reality game that was to be the next installment in the popular Five Nights at Freddy's series. It was the most high-profile game he had ever worked on. And he knew it was going to be a tremendous hit. How could it not be, with the exciting combination of virtual reality and the established Five Nights at Freddy's characters that gamers already love to fear? The early glitches of the game had been worked out, and now Matt was about to do what non-gamers assumed the only part of his job was. He was getting to play test the game. It was Soup? Oh yeah, Soup got obliterated. Yeah, obliterated by the pregnancy command. The pregnancy command, you can't fuck with it. You really can't fuck with it. Matt secured the VR headset over his eyes and made sure the whole device fit him tightly. Are we gonna do the whole thing where it's like virtual reality, real ejaculate? Is that what we're gonna be doing here? Is it gonna be like virtual reality but real pregnancy? Is this what we're doing here? Oh my Lanta. Oh my Lanta. He was going in. We're still gambling in here. We're gambling with pregnancy. Welcome in, Sigurd. We're reading Fnaf Mpreg as requested by CC. Yeah. So CC requested us to read Fnaf Mpreg, and since it's hashtag Woman Day, I couldn't turn her down. Because it's hashtag Woman Day, I could not turn her away. Unfortunately, the story was about a Steel Wool dev, but then he said he was playtesting the game, so it couldn't be. Time elapsed between entering chat and hearing wretched comment. No exaggeration. 1.5 seconds. I don't know, Sigurd. I think it might have something to I don't know. I mean, like, I was doing pretty good for a while. I think you're just so unlucky. When you get Mpreg in the game, you get Mpreg in real life. ERP at 3 a.m. gone wrong. Yeah, we're reading Fnaf Mpreg as requested by Cece. So if there's any women in chat who want me to read something awful, now is your day to ask, because I can't legally refuse you because it's #Woman Day. Hashtag Catholic, hashtag Latina. There was a wall on either side of him. These walls formed the dark hallway that was the entrance to a maze. At this point, Matt could only see down the hall straight ahead. No entrances to the left or right were visible yet. Just as he was about to move forward, he saw his creation and his adversary, a large green rabbit, appear at the end of the hall and then exit to the left. Just because it was a rabbit doesn't mean it was cute. Matt had always found humans in rabbit costumes creepy, as was evidenced by an old picture his mom had taken of him when he was 3 years old, screaming bloody murder on the lap of a blankly grinning Easter bunny at the mall. Did you come up with that virtual reality line all on your own? No, I didn't. I'm sorry. That's not me. I mean, like, to be fair, it's not like an unused phrase. It's not. I've seen that one around for a while now. Virtual reality, real ejaculate, baby. Springtrap, the rabbit in the game, was even scarier than the Uncanny Valley dwelling mall Easter bunny. Its costume was so tattered that some of its mechanical parts were visible beneath the fabric, and the better part of one ear was missing. Its eyes were evil orbs that glowed green when it spotted its prey, and its grin was wide and ghastly. It was definitely nightmare fuel, which was absolutely what Matt had intended for it to be. Matt was especially proud of his titular character. He wanted to make Springtrap the kind of horrifying character who would endure, who would visit people's nightmares for generations to come. From Dracula to Hannibal Lecter, there was a kind of immortality in a truly horrifying creation. And somehow a bit of this immortality touched the creator as well. Matt had done an exhaustive amount of research in developing the murderous rabbit. He had watched dozens of classic horror movies, studying the personalities of their cold-blooded killers. He read books and articles on serial killers about how their appetite for violence could only be sated for a little while, until they had to choose another victim. I like when they refer to eyes as orbs. It is cool. I mean, like, because, like, you know, when you think about it, they do be big and round. If I was evil, you'd make me read the Glee, Worm, Incest, Mpreg fic. Unfortunately, you're a morally okay person that believes in preventing bad fics from spreading like SPDs. They're not piss-colored! Omo, you absolute brat. Omo, you are such a fucking brat. Holy shit, they're not piss-colored? I'm not mad. I gotta... Okay, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. Alright. Okay. Okay, where was I? The more Matt watched and read, the more he understood. For the killers who lived on in people's imaginations, murder was a source of joy, a means of self-expression, like painting for the artist, or playing an instrument for the musician, or getting big and round like Twitch chatter Omocide. Omo had piss on the mind again, just like always. AI is simultaneously proven to be my greatest op in terms of psychic damage and my greatest shooter. Please. Piss mentioned -2. That wasn't even me. Don't -2 me. I didn't start the piss conversation, for once. He had wanted to create a character. Oh, wait, where was I? Matt wanted Springtrap to show this kind of joy, this kind of deep self-realization in the art of killing. He wanted to create a character who would open your jugular with the same happy excitement as a kid opening a birthday present. My greatest shoot, yeah, like with a gun. AI, don't stop. You need to give him the people's elbow, Shade Kaneko. Give him a kneecap to the sternum. He likes that kind of thing. The -2 is for everyone in chat. Actually, true. Stop talking about piss. Man, you're asking. It's like asking a bird not to fly. You know, it's like asking a fish not to swim. But I'll try. True. Planet Piss keeps on turning. Jestulence moment. Jestulence gamer moment. Matt was no murderer, of course. If he were, he wouldn't have had to do so much research. But Matt knew what it was to feel rage, to feel so wrong, so ill-used, that he burned with the desire to destroy, to smash, to teach the people who had wronged him a lesson they would never forget. During the game's development, Springtrap became the place Matt could put all these feelings, a repository for all his destructive urges. Springtrap was the child of Matt's rage. Foreshadowing, foreshadowing, foreshadowing. Child, baby, birth, child, Mpreg. The goal at the beginning part of the game sounded simple. Find your way out of the maze before Springtrap can kill you. But the maze was absurdly difficult, made even more so by the first-person perspective that the VR necessitated. Springtrap was both swift and stealthy, and was able to appear seemingly from nowhere and kill you before you knew it hit you. Matt made his way to the end of the entrance hallway and decided to turn right, since it was the opposite of the direction he had seen the rabbit choose. He ended up, as he knew he would, in a large square room with 4 closed doors. 3 of these doors led to new passages in the maze. 1 led to Springtrap and certain death. Because the way of the game was programmed, Matt didn't have any more idea of which door hid Springtrap than any other gamer would. Which door should he choose? Smother him? Yeah, smothering is good too. Smothering is good too. You have 24 hours before my piss droplets hit the earth. Alright, we're done talking about piss. I'm putting a veto on the piss conversation for once. After a quick round of eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Matt chose the door that was straight in front of him. He stepped toward it, turned the knob, and pushed the door open. The soundtrack emitted a deafening screech, and the bunny lunged at him, its arm outstretched, slashing at him with a big, shining knife. The VR made Springtrap's attack feel disturbingly realistic. The knife slashed what felt like dangerously close to his eyes, and when Springtrap lifted the knife high and plunged it downward, Matt couldn't help bracing himself, as though he were about to experience real physical pain. Then the perspective shifted to third person, so Matt could see the corpse of his avatar sprawled face down on the floor. Springtrap, showing the twisted joy that Matt had intended, smiled with a look of true bliss. He knelt beside Matt's avatar and used his knife to slice off Matt's ear. Springtrap held up the blood-dripping ear, a trophy commemorating his achievement. The words, "Game over," appeared on the screen. Sippy? Let's do a sippy. We'll have a sippy. Thank you, Shaken Echo. Oh, Shrimp, you would like a meow? There you go. There you go. Matt was furious at himself for choosing the wrong door. Furious at his rabbit creation for taking such obvious pleasure in his defeat. He didn't even remove the headset to take a break. He just restarted the game and ran down the hallway until he was in the room with the 4 doors again. He had a gut instinct that the door on the left was the one to pick. He approached the door, turned the knob, and pulled it open. Springtrap lurched out at him with jaws open wide. There was a soundtrack screech, followed by a gruesome snapping sound. Matt flinched because it felt for all the world like Springtrap was a split second away from biting his face off. Matt's avatar corpse once again lay face down, what was left of his face, anyway, in a fresh pool of blood. Springtrap grinned at his victory, his teeth stained red. He slowly licked the blood from his lips. The words, "Game over," filled the screen again. Plot twist, he was wearing an Apple Pro. I mean, then he deserves this. Then he deserves it. Time to go off every 25 minutes. Oh, thank you, Shaken Echo. That's very sweet of you. That's very sweet of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I do need some sippies when I'm doing my reading. I get really dry mouth really fast for some reason when I'm doing reading. Matt cursed, tore off his goggles, and threw them down onto his desk. He should probably be more careful with the expensive equipment, but he didn't care. Why did he keep losing to Springtrap? Why couldn't he win a game he had largely designed? He paced and cursed, then picked up a coffee mug and threw it. The mug smashed into tiny pieces and left a brown splatter on the clean white wall. Good, Matt thought. All of his thoughts were destructive. There was a gentle knocking on the door, accompanied by the spoken words. Knock, knock. Why did people do that? Wasn't just knocking on the door enough? Yeah, Matt snapped, not wanting to be bothered. The door cracked, and Jamie from the cubicle closest to his office peeked in. She was one of those women who looked like she hadn't changed her hair or clothing style since 3rd grade. Her bangs were cut straight across her forehead, and she appeared to be wearing a jumper. I heard noises and wanted to make sure you were okay. I'm fine. At least I was before you interrupted me, Matt snapped. Everyone in the office seemed to love Jamie. They raved about the homemade banana bread she'd made in the banana bread mention. She'd leave in the break room, or about how she was always willing to help out with a problem, whether professional or personal. To good to stay hydrated, but Shake Connect was making me piss, so watch out. I said piss, no more piss conversation, Shrimp. You're trying to get past the piss embargo. Stop it. Where was I? But she didn't fool Matt. He knew Jamie was a busybody. It was like she was a vampire who fed on office drama. Sorry, I guess those were just the sounds of the creative process I was hearing, Jamie quipped, crinkling her nose as she smiled. It was a cowering, ingratiating smile, like a dog wagging its tail when you'd caught it peeing on the carpet. That's right, Matt said, not smiling back. You want oh, me too, man opener, me too. Banana bread? God, I should make banana bread. I should cook something tomorrow. That's right, Matt said, not smiling back. What was he supposed to say? That he got mad because the big bunny had killed him twice in a row? That he had thrown his coffee mug against the wall because he couldn't handle the fact that he was losing to his own creation? Matt was starting to feel like the video game developer version of Dr. Frankenstein. 1984. Oh, Lord. Well, good luck. See you later, Jamie said, giving a little wave with just her fingers. You want me to close the door back? I never wanted you to open it in the first place. He was going to go in again. This time he would make better choices. He would get past the murderous rabbit. He would lay to rest the nagging suspicion that this was a game he couldn't win. Sometimes Matt felt like life was a game he couldn't win. Sure, he had all the trappings of a happy existence. He had graduated from a good school and married Hannah, his college sweetheart. He had gotten his dream job, and he and Hannah had bought a pretty 4-bedroom house with ample room for her home office, his massive video game collection, and, Hannah had hoped, a growing family. Matt is misunderstanding that he's being pitied by her. Well, also, this is also a story where he's going to get male pregnant, I think, so I'm going to forgive him for not quite understanding the social dynamic here. Streusel topping. I don't even know what streusel is. I've never heard of that before. What is it? Back in college, Matt had enjoyed the excitement of pursuing and eventually winning Hannah. He had met her in a killer chemistry class freshman year, where she had an A average and he was struggling. He asked her to be his tutor and they met twice a week. They worked on chemistry, but they also talked and laughed a lot. Finally, he asked her, would you be willing to go out on a date with somebody who is way worse at chemistry than you? She said yes, and soon they were inseparable. Once they were really dating, she didn't even mind letting him copy down her problem sets. It gave them extra time to spend together doing other, more fun things. Their meet cute story was a big hit whenever people asked how they got together. They always said, we had chemistry. +2 for that one. I'll give it to you. He's doomed to pregnancy because he's mean to women, which is illegal. It's illegal today. It's illegal today, and I'm going to extend it to tomorrow because I want to do a Warhammer stream tomorrow. But so we're going to have 48 hours of #Woman Day, but only for people here. Brown sugar butter mixture creates a crumble, goes on top of coffee cake. Oh, then I do know. Then I have heard. That would be good. Yes, that does sound good. After graduation, Matt had loved going after and getting his dream job, hunting for and acquiring the right house. But once you won the prize, there was nothing to do but maintain it, and maintenance wasn't as interesting. The dream house had extensive plumbing problems, so many that it seemed like they should just ask a plumber to move into one of the extra bedrooms. Yeah, Shrimp probably could ship me some banana bread, but I mean, you don't have to. Like, it's, don't worry about it. You can if you want, but don't worry about it. But also let me know if you do, so I'm ready for it. The job was great sometimes, but there was also countless boring meetings during which people who knew much less than he did talked on and on about insignificant details, and he was expected to listen to them respectfully, which wasn't always possible. How could it be when he clearly had the best ideas in the room? And then there was the problem of maintaining a marriage. When they were dating, Matt had been so preoccupied with winning Hannah's love that he never thought about the cost of that prize, namely that he was committing to spend the rest of his life with one person and one person only. It had gotten boring quickly. The endless nights in, the same conversation about their days, the same chicken breasts and green salad for dinner, and the same TV shows afterwards. Hannah was still pretty and smart and nice, but the novelty had worn off her. Like when you buy a new car and it's exciting at first, but then it just settles into being your car. Reliable and useful, but no longer a source of excitement. Man, if you don't have excitement in your marriage, you gotta make some, dog. It doesn't have to be this way. You don't have to live like this, Matpat. You can have a better marriage if you engage with your wife. Although I don't know how actual marriage goes. I'm going to assume that he's a wonderful husband. The scariest part of the story yet, marriage. True. So true. Am I right, brother, or am I right? Marriage. Anyway. There had been other problems right away. There had been other problems as well. Hannah wanted to start a family right away, and Matt hadn't. In fact, the more tedious the day-to-day grind of marriage had become. If you're describing your marriage as a grind, maybe get divorced. I don't know. Maybe see a counselor. If your marriage is a grind, I don't know, man. Maybe do something about it. I'm sorry. But I guess what he is going to do about this is get male pregnant, so that's fine. The less he'd wanted to add kids to the equation. The whole prospect of parenting yawned before him as a string of unpleasant responsibilities, stretching out for decades. The feedings and diaper changes and sleepless nights of infancy, the endless ferrying of school-aged children to school and lessons and practices, the drama and rebellion of the teen years, all that plus the stress of having to pay for college. Who needed it? Apparently, Hannah had needed it. Or anyway, she thought she did. Every Friday night when they would go out to the Neapolitan, their favorite Italian restaurant, she would wait until Matt had been softened up by a couple glasses of wine and say, I think it's time. Matt would always say, time for dessert? Even though he knew good and well that tiramisu wasn't what she was talking about. Where's your Fnaf Mpreg? We're reading it right now, stinker. Get in here, settle down, and listen. He's grinding to level up. Yeah, true. Time to start a family, she would inevitably say. He tried to put her off in a variety of ways. He said that they still needed a few years to focus on their careers, but Hannah had said since that she ran her graphic design business from home, she could balance it with parenting now. He wrote this about Matpat. I didn't write this, but Matt is in this one. Once, Matt had suggested that if she wanted something to take care of, they should get a dog instead of having a baby. That tactic hadn't gone over well. The worst, though, is when he tried to argue that pregnancy and motherhood would ruin Hannah's petite, attractive figure. That time, she'd called him shallow, thrown the contents of her water glass in his face, and stormed out of the restaurant. Yeah, you kind of deserve that one, boss. The fact that Hannah wasn't willing to listen to reason about having a baby had definitely put a damper on their marriage. And then there was the matter of the harmless little friendship Matt had struck up with Brianna, a server at the restaurant where he frequently had lunch. It wasn't anything serious, and it certainly wasn't any of Hannah's business. But she had gotten all upset when Matt had left his computer open and saw that Brianna had sent him a picture of herself in a bikini. He had no idea why Hannah had been so unreasonable. Friends did that kind of thing all the time. I don't think so. I don't think the waitress at the place you eat lunch at should be sending you pictures of her in a bikini. That's not normal, especially if she knows you're married. Oh, Scott Catherine. Well, you know, we're gonna get there soon. They get divorced, she might take limited edition Freddy Fazbear Nintendo Switch with her. True, actually. God, can you imagine losing your Nintendo Switch in the divorce? That would be the worst day of my life. Am I right? Am I right, boys? Huh? Hannah had suggested that the two of them get marriage counseling, but Matt had refused, and their marriage had ended in divorce shortly after their one-year anniversary. Since then, Matt had had a string of girlfriends, the first one being Brianna from the restaurant. None of these relationships had lasted over 3 months, and Matt was always the one who got dumped. This string of breakups was a major contributor to the rage Matt was able to summon in creating Springtrap. Women were crazy, Matt had decided, and not worth the effort. I feel like we are not writing Matpat in a very favorable light in this story. I feel like he's kind of getting the shit end of the stick in this portrayal. To combat his loneliness and frustration, Matt had become a gooner. Matt had thrown himself into the design of the VR game even more obsessively than usual. It was the cruelest of ironies that the game, much like his relationships, seemed to have turned against him. But this time, he was going to outsmart the rabbit and get out of the maze alive. Matt ran down the dark hallway and turned right into the room with the doors. He looked around and chose the door behind him. When he turned the knob and opened the door, the entrance was clear. He walked down another dark hallway. There was no sign of Springtrap. He made a left into the hallway that led to a hall of mirrors. He knew his way through, of course. The trick was making sure he wasn't being followed. He moved his way past the panels of glass, each one identical. He was maybe 12 steps from the exit when he felt the presence of something behind him. In a mirror, he saw the reflection of the big green rabbit standing behind him. The rabbit grabbed him by the hair and raised a gleaming knife to Matt's throat. Matt could almost feel the swift, sure slash. Once again, Matt saw his avatar lying face down, this time in a spreading puddle of his own blood. The rabbit licked the blood from the knife's blade and laughed, his shoulders shaking. But it didn't feel like the rabbit was just laughing at Matt's mortally wounded avatar. It felt like the rabbit was laughing at Matt himself. I feel like Scott doesn't really like Matpat. I don't think he didn't treat him very well in this story, no. So the rabbit wanted to play dirty, did it? Matt yanked off his headpiece. He reached out his arms and cleared his desk, sending all its contents clattering to the floor. He would show that rabbit who was in charge. He just needed some room to spread out. He was in control of the game, so he was in control of the rabbit. He got to say what it could and could not do, where it could and could not go. He would show it who his boss. When Matt went home later, he wouldn't have that much control over his life. But here, inside the game, he was the absolute ruler, and all of the decisions were his to make. He programmed the game such that Springtrap was doomed to wander the maze alone all night, with no victims to stalk and no way out. He also sped up the game's time frame by 1,000. So for that each minute that passed in real time, 1,000 minutes passed for Springtrap. Matt found himself laughing louder and harder than he had laughed in a long time. Sure, the rabbit might be able to kill his avatar, but that was nothing compared to the way that Matt could alter Springtrap's reality, could control time and space, and mete out a cosmic punishment like some kind of ancient, vengeful god. Man, you're really kind of... Dog, it's a video game. Put it away. Walk away from the screen, homie. Go outside. Go for a walk. Touch grass. I don't know. Matt left the office and laughed some more on the drive home. Hannah had gotten the house in the divorce, so Matt had moved into one of those apartment complexes with a pool and tennis courts, which advertised itself as offering affordable luxury. He had furnished the apartment with simple, functional pieces and lots of shelving for his video game collection. When his friend Jason from college had gotten kicked to the curb by his girlfriend at the same time of one of Matt's 3-month relationships had been split up, Matt had invited him to move in to the extra bedroom and split the rent. Punishing minor enemies with Mpreg and then also punishing major enemies with Mpreg. It's Mpreg all the way down. It's even Mpreg here. It's Mpreg from the start to the bottom. Scott was like, okay, so you love my games and make countless theories of them. Let's make you a gooner that constantly loses, gets dumped, and then Mpreg. Yeah, it's kind of... It's I feel like it's a little egregious, isn't it? It's a little much. Maybe Scott should step away from the typewriter. Yeah. Oh, Flower, the unsuccessful Mpreg. It's okay, Flower. Welcome in, by the way. Flower, Churl got pregnant earlier. He tried that and it got reversed on him, and now he's he's heavy with child. Unfortunately for him. Flower, we're reading Fnaf Mpreg stories, by the way. I hope you're aware of this, just so you know what you're getting into. When Matt walked into the apartment, Jason was sitting on the couch in front of the big screen TV with a video game controller in hand. It wasn't even 6 o'clock and he had already changed in his pajamas. A 2-liter bottle of soda and an open bag of cheese puffs decorated the coffee table. Hey, he said, not looking away from the zombies he was blasting on the screen. You'll be sure to congratulate him. Please do. Please do. Oh, there he is. See? He's thrilled. Look how happy he is. He's glowing. He's glowing with child. Wow. Hey, Matt said. And how is Springtrap? Jason asked, like one might ask about a friend's sick aunt. Springtrap is going to have an interesting evening. Wait, what? Jason said. Nothing. Matt tossed his bag on the couch. The game's going great. Kids are going to love it. Big kids too, Jason said. I can't wait to play it myself. Hey, what do you want for dinner tonight? Pizza? Thai? Chinese? He nodded toward the stack of takeout menus on the coffee table. Matt shrugged. Whatever. You pick. I'm going to take a quick shower. He had gotten all sweaty and agitated during his battle with the rabbit earlier. But now he could relax and have his revenge at the same time. Omo also got reverse preg, but that's not even a blip for Omo. That's just like par for the course. For Churl is not a big and round tuber like Omo is. Yeah, that's not news. It's the happiest face I've ever seen. Exactly. But now he could relax and have his revenge at the same time, knowing that the helpless creature was doomed to wander aimlessly through the maze all night. Matt and Jason ate their Thai takeout straight from the containers while sitting on the couch and watching an episode of Rain of Stones Jason had recorded on the DVR. Living with Jason felt like being in college all over again. At first it had been fun. No complicated female emotions, no home repairs, no yard to mow. After work it was all takeout and TV and video games unless one of them had a date. But lately the carefree college vibe had started to wear thin, and Matt had begun to feel like he was regressing, losing ground at a time in life when he should be gaining. Plus, Jason had started to get on his nerves. He was so unambitious, working at a dead-end call center job, but never looking for anything more lucrative or challenging. How could a person be so chill all the time? Before long, Matt was going to have to make some decisions about how to move forward with his life. Sweaty Matpat. Why would Scott? Yeah, Matt is like, ooh. Now let's make Matpat all sweaty. We'll put him in the shower. Ooh, there we go. Exactly. Scott's writing that like a fucking lunatic. As the episode of Rain of Stones grew more violent, Matt's thoughts turned to Springtrap in the VR game, wandering endlessly, aimlessly, with nowhere to go and no one to kill. Matt smiled. It served the psychotic bunny right for killing him all those times. It was strange that thinking about the Springtrap made Matt feel a little better. Maybe he couldn't control the people around him, but he was in charge when it came to the game. If he didn't like the way things were going, he just had to do a little bit of programming to change the outcome. Lamau call centers being chill. I worked at a call center for maybe 3 months, and I think it was the worst 3 months I have ever lived in my life. And I have been through not great other things. If you ever are considering working at a call center, I plead you to do literally anything else. You would be happier shoveling shit at a stable than you would be working at a call center. And it might smell better too. Never work at a call center. If you ever find yourself in that situation, do anything else, please. I'm for your own sake. Writing a story with one hand, exactly right. Fucking Scott's writing this story one-handed. Ugh. After a mostly sleepless night, Matt was happy to be back at work, where at least things were interesting some of the time. In the break area, he helped himself to a cup of coffee he knew would be bad, and then made his way to his office to see how Springtrap's night had been. At least Matt knew that there was somebody who had a worse night than his. Matt put on his headset and entered the game. He walked down the dim hallway and turned right to arrive at the room with the doors. He chose the door on the right. Thankfully, Springtrap wasn't there, so he was granted access to the rest of the maze. Matt walked around the maze for a long time, but there was no sign of Springtrap. No jump scares, no sneaking up behind him, no quick glimpses of the rabbit at the end of the hall. It was strange. The way the game was programmed, he should have seen Springtrap by now. Matt took up his headset and opened the game's data log. For several in-game days, Springtrap had wandered around the perimeters of the maze, looking for someone to kill. That was what Matt had expected. But he hadn't expected what he saw next. After all those days with no one to kill, when killing was his life's only purpose, Springtrap seemed to spawn a new version of himself. Immediately, the new version killed the old version, and then the current Springtrap would somehow produce a newer version, which would then kill it. The cycle went on and on, a creation of a new AI, followed by the newly created one destroying the creator. The killings got faster and faster, one right after another, seemingly as soon as the newest Springtrap was able to spawn an even newer model. The murders grew in violence, just as they grew in speed. Stabbings, slashings, decapitations. When Matt saw the word disembowelment in the data log, he felt the coffee lurch in his stomach. While bizarre, the log did at least answer the questions of how Springtrap had spent the night. What it didn't answer was where Springtrap was now. The rabbit was programmed into the game's code. He didn't have the ability to truly, permanently kill himself. He would always respawn. He had to be in there somewhere. Matt searched the game's VR for Springtrap. He searched parts of the game where Springtrap wasn't even programmed to be. After having spawned and killed 500,000 versions of himself over the course of the night, the rabbit seemed to have disappeared. Except that he couldn't really disappear. It wasn't possible. The code. The answer had to be in the code. Matt could be absent-minded sometimes. Kinda used to tease him about his endless ability to lose his car keys or his cell phone. But he had an amazing memory when it came to programming. As a result, it was shocking when he looked at the program for Springtrap and saw that it now bore absolutely no resemblance to the program he had created. Springtrap's programming was fractured, splintered, unrecognizable. He had no choice but to remove it and start over. He went through the usual steps to remove it, but the damaged program remained. He figured that, since he was tired, he might have entered something incorrectly. He tried again, but the results were the same. He tried again and again for an hour, 2 hours, 3, but the results never varied. The damaged program could not be removed. And here's what you do the funny glitch with VR as you walk through the wall and cheese it. Yeah, Springtrap just did a 360 and walked away. It's that easy. It was as if Springtrap, in one last spectacular suicide, had blown himself to smithereens, and now all these tiny bits of him were scattered throughout the game's code, as impossible to remove as individual specks of dust. Matt started to sweat. all over the internet and in every game store, ads for the new Five Nights at Freddy's virtual reality game abounded, announcing a release date that was all too soon. And now the game's program was defected in a way that apparently could not be fixed? Matt's revenge on Springtrap seemed ridiculously small compared to Springtrap's revenge on him. Maybe if he went into the game one more time, he could figure out some way to reverse the damage. I don't know, guys. I think he's about to get pregnant. I think that might be what's going to happen. Matt's avatar ran around the periphery of the maze looking for signs of Springtrap. He turned a corner and caught sight of something green up ahead. Springtrap's lifeless body lay around the maze's next bend. It was splayed on its back with its torso split wide open. Matt kneeled for a closer look. Springs and gears protruded from the edge of the gaping wound. How could something so mechanical manage to look so dead? Springtrap's blank, sightless stare was horrible to behold. Matt reached up to the rabbit's eyelids to close them. As soon as he made a physical contact, Matt felt a sharp sting, combined with a mild electrical jolt that reminded him of the pain of getting his fraternity letters tattooed on his ankle in college. He pulled the avatar's hand away. Yeah, he blew his own brains out, apparently. Matt was too stressed out about the strange state of the game to be in the mood for a date, but Jason had been insistent. The girl Jason was dating had promised that her roommate would be perfect for Matt. The four of them were supposed to have dinner together at the Neapolitan, Hannah and Matt's old go-to Italian restaurant. This was another reason Matt didn't want to go. Too many memories, both good and bad. But the main reason was that he thought the likelihood of a girl being perfect for him was the equivalent to the likelihood of a snowstorm in August. When the doorbell rang, Matt answered to find two young women, one of them blonde and athletically pretty with a sun-kissed complexion. Maybe this evening would be better than he predicted. "Well, hello," Matt said to her, turning on his most charming smile. "This is a pleasant surprise. Usually I think Jason's kind of an idiot, but when he said we'd be perfect for each other, he definitely knew what he was talking about." He held out his hand. The pretty blonde didn't take his proffered hand and only gave him a small smile back. Man, Scott is definitely writing Matpat as a real dickhead. I don't know if he actually has a tattoo. I've never seen a picture of Matpat, actually. I don't even know what this dude looks like. But man, they hate this motherfucker. This is your date, Eva. She gestured toward the brown-haired young woman Matt hadn't even noticed standing beside her. "Hi," Eva said, smiling shyly. She was dressed in a striped button-down blouse and khakis, like she was going to work instead of on a date. "Hi," Matt said, not even bothering to hide his disappointment. Eva wasn't ugly exactly. "Thank you for the sippy. I will take a sippy. Thank you, Shake Knuckle." They burned your food twice. We've gotten into the Matpat Mpreg fic woozle, so you're gonna have to settle in pretty good. We haven't gotten to the pregnancy part yet, though. Sent back with free breadsticks? Hell yeah. She wasn't ugly exactly. It was just that standing beside a specimen as fine as Megan, she looked like a sparrow next to a bird of paradise. Matt also noticed that Eva's smile had not benefited from orthodontia. Her parents must have been too poor to pay for braces, he figured. Matt had always found that the state of a person's teeth was an accurate indicator of social class. So were shoes. He glanced down at Eva's footwear. Cheap flats. Man, like, Scott really hates Matpat. Why would you write Matpat to be such an asshole? Holy moly. You got your sody pop and your pizza? Hell yeah, Woozle. Settle in. "So are we allowed to come in?" Megan asked. "Of course," Matt said, stepping inside. "Hey, Jason," he called. "The ladies are here." Jason stumbled into the living room, his hair still wet from the shower. He came up to Megan and kissed her cheek, and then said, "Hey, Eva, have you met Matt?" "Yeah, we've met," she said. Matt couldn't figure out why she didn't sound more enthusiastic. She was lucky to be going on a date. A guy like him would usually be way out of her league. And speaking of being out of one's league, how did a schlubby guy like Jason get a shot with a gorgeous girl like Megan? "Hey," Jason said, "I thought we could take separate cars to the restaurant. That way, if we want to do anything separately after dinner, we're all set." "Fine with me," Matt said. Taking his own car would give him the ability to cut the evening short if it proved too unbearable. Just like my fucking internet connection tonight. Matpat has a wife and child, but suddenly you add him into funny Robo Bear universe, and suddenly he's a stinky gooner. Yeah, I mean, like, has Matpat, like, is Matpat in a successful marriage, or, like, is he, like, just as bad in real life? I feel like they're definitely, like, this almost feels like character assassination for poor Matpat. I don't know the guy. I've never watched any of his shit, but this is mean. This is so mean. Matt saw Jason open his car door for Megan, so he bit the bullet and did the same for Eva. Of course, Jason's car was the same he'd been driving since college, and Matt's was a new sports car. He was surprised that Eva didn't compliment him on it. On the way to the restaurant, Eva said, "So Jason tells me you're a video game developer. That's really cool." "Yeah," Matt said, not trying to think about the disappeared code that was endangering his high-profile project. "It is really cool. Right now I'm working on the newest Five Nights at Freddy's game, the VR one. It's going great," he said, trying to convince himself at least as much as he was trying to convince her. "My little brother is dying to get that game as soon as it comes out," Eva said. "It's practically all he talks about. He won't believe that I know the developer." Well, now she was showing some enthusiasm at least. Matt decided to lob the ball into her court. "So what is it you do?" He wasn't particularly interested, but he told himself to try to listen to her answer. "I'm in the IT department at the recreational outfitting company where Megan works. This is one of the reasons Jason thought you and I might get along, because we're both into tech stuff." "Yeah, well, the last thing I want to talk about when I get home from work is tech stuff," Matt said. Eva's smile looked forced. "Yeah, me too. I don't like YouTube game theory stuff, but this is kind of creepy." Yeah, this is like, it's so weird the way he's writing it. They didn't talk about anything else for the rest of the drive to the restaurant. Matt hadn't been to the Neapolitan since the divorce. It was the same as it had always been, dimly lit and romantic, with violin music playing softly in the background. The elderly maitre d' looked down on him with a glow of recognition. "Oh, I remember you," he said. "You used to come here all the time with your lovely wife." "Well, she's not my lovely wife anymore," Matt grumbled. "Why couldn't people mind their own business?" "Still married? Oh, hey, there you go." The maitre d' blanched, but quickly regained his composure. "Oh, I see. Table for 4, then?" Matt ordered the ossobuco, his favorite. Megan ordered the same, which Matt felt indicated discerning taste. Both Jason and Eva ordered the spaghetti with meat sauce. Matt was appalled by their lack of sophistication. They may as well have ordered from the children's menu. Man, it just doesn't stop. The character assassination is just not stopping. Holy shit, this is brutal. He's classist, he hates women, he's a dickhead, like, holy shit. Why do you... I mean, okay. What if Matt could use the date as an opportunity to charm Megan away from Jason? Megan was clearly more compatible with Matt, and maybe there would be no hard feelings since Jason could have Eva as a consolation prize. Oh, man. And this is supposed to be hashtag Women Day. What the fuck? Plus, maybe getting his love life in order might give Matt the peace he needed to figure out what the problem in the game was and fix it once and for all. When the waiter came with their salads, Matt said, "I think we'd like to get a bottle of Pinot Grigio for the table." "Very good, sir," the waiter said. "Thanks, man. Big spender." Matt shrugged. "You can't be stingy if you're going to have a good time. It takes money to have good food, good wine, good friends." "It doesn't take money to have good friends," Eva said. "So what? She was going to pick an argument with him?" "Well, it takes money to have a good time with your friends." "How about that?" Matt said. "Not really," Eva said, pushing her salad around her plate. "Some of the best times I've ever had with my friends have just been hanging out and talking." "Yes, but good food and good wine certainly enhance conversation," Matt said. "What do you think, Megan?" I don't think he actually meant to be Matpat. It's just coincidental they share the name. I know Scott showed up in Matpat's final game 3 before he retired, so I assume they're at least amicable. I feel like having the name be Matt is a little on the... I feel like there are so many names he could have picked. There are so many other names he could have picked when it's like Matpat is like so... Like when I think of Fnaf, I think of probably Matpat first, Hold on, is it written this way because Scott wants to fuck over Matt or because Scott secretly thinks this stuff is true? I don't know. I mean, like, AI is probably closer to right, where it's probably coincidental, but I feel like, I don't know, then why didn't he just pick another name? There's so many other names. At least the wine being expensive is a variety of grape, not a brand. Yeah, no, Pinot Grigio is also not expensive, so I don't know what's going on here. "Well, they can," Megan said, "but I agree with Eva. Sometimes the best times are just hanging out in your pajamas, talking all night, and eating peanut butter out of the jar." Matt figured Megan didn't want to make her friend feel bad. When the wine arrived, Matt offered to pour some for Eva, but she put her hand over the glass and said, "No, thank you. I don't drink." Well, she's no fun, Matt thought. He poured wine for Jason, then poured Megan's glass extra full. The more she drank, the more charming she would find him. This is so awful. Now, like... That line is so gross. Oh, man. A $20 bottle of wine at best. Yeah, no, it's not... It's not expensive. Pinot Grigio is not expensive. Oh, my God. Over dinner, Matt told interesting stories about his life and accomplishments. Sure, he may have felt a little guilty that he didn't let Jason get a word in edgewise, but it was important that Megan get to know the kind of guy he was. Between the entrees and the tiramisu, Jason and Eva both excused themselves to go to the restroom, leaving Matt at the table alone with Megan. The opportunity couldn't have been more perfect. So, I know you got this thing going with Jason now because, well, opposites attract, I guess, Matt said, smiling at her. The candlelight shined in her golden hair. She really was lovely. But I just want to say I find you devastatingly attractive, and I'd like to give you my number, just in case you'd like it, you know, for future reference. Megan's blue eyes flashed. I thought you and Jason were best friends. Matt was surprised to hear the anger in her voice. Well, we are, but you know what they say, all's fair in love and war. Just because they say it doesn't mean it's true. All evening you've talked about nothing but yourself and how great you supposedly are. Maybe Jason isn't as well dressed as you and doesn't have as impressive a job as you, but he's great because he's a nice, caring guy. Matt wasn't going to sit there and take this abuse from yet another delusional woman. Well, I hope you enjoy your life of poverty with your nice, caring guy. This is so, but this is, yeah, it's also not very, yeah, this is also just not even well written. After this, we're going to go back to a Shirley Jackson story. We'll read a good story after this. Did he give birth? Not yet, not yet. Generally the fucking worst does not want to know. Matt does not want her to know who she really is. Exactly. This is all this. I just want to get to the pregnancy, really. I really do. He was so angry he felt smoke might come out of his ears, as though he were a character in an old cartoon. This evening has been an utter disaster. I trust that you and Jason would be nice enough to give my alleged date, what's her name, a ride. He grabbed the wine bottle and marched out of the restaurant. That's the funniest part. He took the wine bottle with him. Oh, that's so fucking funny. It's Peem. It's very Peem. It's fucking shit awful, but it's Peem. You know, it's the fact that he took the wine bottle. Holy moly! It's slow burn. You gotta savor it like vinegar. Scott is taking too long to get to the Mpreg. Also, this is like it's doing Matpat so fucking dirty. If I was written about like in this way, I would be so mad. It was only when he was in the car that he realized he left without paying his part of the bill. Good, he thought. Let them take care of it. It served them right for not appreciating him. So they noticed Scott doesn't write these stories. Oh, I thought he did. Who wrote this story then? He drove home too fast, thinking what a wretched day it had been. It felt like the problems with the game had infected his whole life, but that was gonna change. Just preg the fuck out of Matt and move on, yeah. Matt woke up feeling strangely queasy. Uh-oh! Are we getting to the pregnancy? It's funny to pretend he did. Yeah, it's more funny to pretend he did. Usually, morning tummy trouble was a symptom of his having drunk too much the night before. He had polished off that bottle of wine last night, but still, it hadn't added up to more than 3 glasses worth. He shouldn't be hungover. I hate Matt more than the discombobulated hag. Yeah, at least the story with the hag was shorter than this. He did come up with the Mpreg. Alright, so he's guilty for at least something. Coffee, he decided, was the solution, as it was to many of life's problems. He dragged himself into the kitchen and put on a pot to brew. Though the thought of eating was unpleasant, he dropped a slice of whole wheat bread into the toaster, in case his stomach's emptiness was the cause of its unrest. Once the brewing and toasting were complete, he sat down at the kitchen table. One sip of coffee and one bite of toast later, his stomach roiled violently. Without even having made a conscious decision to move, he found himself leaning over the kitchen sink, retching up not only the taste in coffee, but seeming everything else he had consumed over the past few days. Scott had the impregnating Matpat idea and let someone else fill in the prompt. Apparently so. That would have been something I personally would have seen to myself. But hey, you know, when you've got the people to do it for you, I guess. He'd rinsed out the sink, wet a paper towel, used it to dab his sweaty forehead. His body couldn't have chosen a worse time to get sick. He couldn't miss work. He had to fix the game. He would fix it by lunchtime, he decided. Then he could take the rest of the day off to rest and recover. This is a kink meme, but listen, we're gonna power through it, baby. We're gonna power through it. Woozle, sound off. I need to know you're in this fucking chat still. Sound off, Woozle. This is your responsibility. It was almost noon, and Matt's stomach was still roiling like a storm at sea. He had moved the wastebasket next to his desk so he could hurl into it as needed. Eating lunch was unimaginable. He had been working non-stop to repair the game with no success. He consulted every manual You're jacking off. Good response. Alright, that's a pin. That's a pin right there. Alright. There we go. Alright, there we go, Woozle. Matt wasn't used to feeling stupid or like a failure, but now he was experiencing both of these unpleasant, unaccustomed feelings. It was like Springtrap, his own creation, had bested him. Hashtag feminism win. This male character is so awful that the chat is now pro evil hag. I mean, I would say most of the time this is a pro evil hag chat, but you know, now more than ever. You're welcome, Woozle. You're welcome. Why the decaying man in a rabbit suit of all robots? I don't know. There was a knock on his office door. Come in, Matt said. He hoped it was either someone to save him or put him out of his misery. Hiya, Matt. It was neither. It was Gary, the head of his department, who was guaranteed in any situation to A, be of no help whatsoever, and B, deepen his misery. Matt gritted his teeth. Hey, Gary. Matt hoped the signs of his distress weren't visible, but he was pretty sure they were. He was breathing heavily and sweating like he just run a marathon. The intensity of his nausea made it difficult to speak. He was afraid that if he opened his mouth, something other than words would come out. Gary sat down in the chair across from Matt's desk. He was, as always, impeccably groomed, his hair in a perfect Ken doll part, his expensive suit wrinkle-free. Have you been on social media the past couple days? He grinned, flashing his perfectly straight white teeth. Kids are going nuts over this game. Some adults, too. It's going to be huge, Matt. Huge. Huge, Matt echoed, trying to smile but failing. His mouth refused to go up at the corners. So how's it going? Gary asked, leaning forward in his chair. Is everything moving forward like it needs to? Because I tell you, that deadline is looming. Matt didn't need to be told that the deadline was looming. It's going great, he said, hoping he sounded more convincing than he felt. Good to hear, Gary said, like he was trying to decide whether he believed him. Anything I can help you with? No, it's going great, Matt repeated, his voice getting a little high-pitched and whiny the way it did when he was nervous. Excellent, Gary said, getting up from the chair. Can't wait to see what you've put together. You'll be ready to present it on Friday, right? Friday? You bet, Matt said, gulping. Gary left, closing the door behind him. Matt put his head down on his desk in despair. He started the morning feeling confident in his ability to solve the problem, but the skies had darkened. What's with the teeth focus? I don't know. A dentist wrote this part. Yeah, a dentist wrote this part. Yeah, let's go with that. Yeah. Matt took his lunch break, not to eat, but just to get out of the office and try to clear his head. He walked the half block to Gus's, a dimly lit dive bar that reminded him of the cheap places he used to frequent in college. Maybe he could just sip on a soda to settle his stomach. Also, Gus's wouldn't be crowded at lunchtime. Maybe the combination of a soda and the dark and quiet would help him think. Matt placed his order, and Gus filled it. Matt wished that all relationships could be that simple. He sipped his cola and thought, okay, so there was no time for a major redesign, but was there anything else he could do that might save the game and save his job? Matt looked around the room. In the corner was a couple of old video game cabinets that had probably been there since games were new in the 80s. He stared at the demo screen of an old maze game, watching a weird yellow ball guy being pursued by candy-colored ghosts. Then the thought hit him. Oh, rest in peace, Soup. I can just program a new Springtrap, one that follows the path it's supposed to. The old program is so messed up it won't have any impact on the game anyway. No one will even know it's there. Why every time? I don't know. Maybe you're just not meant to Mpreg. You know, it's possible. You know, try Fpreg. That you might have a better handle on that. You know, and this time Matt wouldn't antagonize the rabbit. He learned his lesson. I'm working on the pregnancy, Shrimp. Stop yelling at me. He's just L. Yeah, L, exactly, Flower. It hadn't been easy hacking into the company's computer, but Gene had done it. Maybe it was a sign that things were up. Life hadn't been going good for him lately. He'd gotten fired from his job on the nerd team at Good Deal Electronics store and had to move back in with his parents till he could find something else, which hadn't happened yet. It was depressing being a grown man living in your childhood bedroom, looking at all those old trophies from Scholars Bowl and math team and realizing how little they meant. That's why he had been packing on the weight. Depression and mom's home cooking were a dangerous combination. But now he had at least one thing going for him. He had his own early copy of Springtrap's Revenge. Because of his superior hacking skills, he was going to be one of the first people, if not the very first person, to play the game. And with his superior gaming skills, he might very well become the very first person to beat the game too. And that would be an accomplishment. He put on the VR headset. He was ready to play. Are we going to only have Matpat get pregnant? Or is this guy going to get pregnant too? A good twist would be more than one guy getting pregnant, I think. That would be a pretty good twist. Gene created an avatar that looked like his ideal self. Like he would look again once he got back on his feet. Getting into the computer system and getting this game was a good sign, Gene thought. A success that would be the first in a series of successes. Once his avatar was created, Gene found himself standing at the end of a dark hallway. Stop turning off my voice changer. What do you mean? I don't use a voice changer. What are you talking about? We simply require thine pregnant man, the Matpat. We'll get there. I think all of them should get Matpat pregnant. I mean, you know, maybe it'll happen. It's possible. The world is endless. We haven't gotten to the end of the story. Who knows? Once his avatar was created, Gene found himself standing at the end of a dark hallway. He walked to the opposite end. There was a door on the left and a door on the right. Randomly, he chose the one on the right. He found himself in a room with 4 doors. Clearly, he had to choose one, and from his past experience with Fnaf games, he knew that the wrong choice would result in a jump scare and a game over screen. He chose the door on the left. He took a deep breath, turned the knob, and pulled. It was clear. He breathed a sigh of relief, took a few steps forward, and found himself in another dark hallway. He walked forward until he slammed into a wall. He had to say, the VR features were impressive. When the avatar hit the wall, he could feel the bump. Mpreg! Exclamation point! Mpreg! Not a command yet. Although if you go to almost chat and you type exclamation point Mpreg, he will be excited to have a baby finally. An entire game company with a single dude actually making a game of which has no backups of truly amazing. I've heard horror stories that of gaming companies where that doesn't even surprise me. Would I read community submitted Brighter Malfin fanfictions? I would. They would have to be TOS for Twitch, but if you wrote a Brighter Malfin fanfiction, I would read it on stream. There is one fanfiction of me already out there, but it's not safe for work. I can't read it on stream. It's like an erotic story, not written by me, but it's out there. So I don't know. Good luck if you want to try and find that. He felt his way to the right, where there had been a passage forward, and continued feeling his way along the wall. Between the limited perspective offered by the VR and the lack of light, this maze was obviously no joke. But if there was one area in his life where Gene had full confidence in himself, it was gaming. He was gonna find his way out. It was strange. It seemed like part of the fun of negotiating the maze should be avoiding creepy characters who lurked around corners and jumped out when least expected. But so far, there were no creepy characters in sight, not even the title character. This game was called Springtrap's Revenge. So where was Springtrap? Follow-up question, would you read Carcat X Malphon Slow Burn Dead Dove Do Not Eat Psychological Thriller Romance? If you keep it short enough, I mean, if it's a slow burn, it's not going to be short. I would say keep it under 10 pages, maybe. Keep it under 10 pages. If it's longer than that, I won't read it on stream, but I will read it, you know? So, I'll read it, but I just might not read it on stream. Gene Jr., dinner's ready, a voice called from the kitchen, breaking Gene's immersion in the game. Stuffed peppers and macaroni and cheese. I'll be there in a minute, Ma, Gene called back, but he knew it would be longer than a minute. He wasn't leaving the game until he found Springtrap. Besides, if there was one thing he knew about Ma, it wasn't that she was going to let him go hungry. If she took too long to come to the table, she'd make him a plate and bring it to his room, so he could shovel in his dinner while he played. 10 pages. Okay, fine. Longer than 10 pages. Just don't make it too long. Don't make it like a 4-hour read, okay, Kogo? Like an hour long, if you can do that, is fine. Gene saw something green sticking out from behind a corner of the maze. He went to investigate, steeling himself for a jump scare. But the version of Springtrap he found, while undoubtedly scary, was incapable of jumping out at anyone. Springtrap's body lay motionless and flat on its back, its abdomen flayed open. Springs and gears protruded from the wound. Its eyes were open and empty. Gene thought it might be a trick, that any second the green rabbit would spring to life and grab Gene's avatar's ankle. But the rabbit just lay there. He made his avatar nudge it with his foot, but it was inert. It seemed to be game over for Springtrap. But that didn't make any sense. If this game was about Springtrap getting revenge, why would the supposed main character be dead in the beginning? Unless the plot turned into some kind of ghost story? You're not cutting the Eridan arc? Okay, well then I'm not going to read it on stream. It can't be too long, or I'm not going to read it on stream. Or what you can do is, if you want to write more than one, then I'll read a couple of them. You know, you can do a couple medium length to short ones, or one long one, I suppose. Gene Jr., your dinner's getting cold. I'll be there in a minute, Ma. Just let me finish filling out this job application. I've given this guy like 3 different voices. Gene called. He knew if she thought he was applying for a job, she'd stay off his back for a few more minutes. He had to figure out what was going on in Springtrap's Revenge, and the only way to do it was to take a look at the code. It was time to put those superior hacking skills to use again. After a few commands, he was in. He's hacking the mainframe. He's hacking the planet. But what he found made no sense. According to the code, Springtrap had been extracted from the very game that bore his name in the title. The program that initiated the extraction was inexplicably called It's a Boy.exe. Holy moly. What? What a line. What a line. Just send me a chapter a week. Yeah, we can do that. Sure, why not? Matt was hungry, ravenous. He was sitting at a table for two. Be there and it's happening. Ma, I'll be there in a minute. I'm just getting this dub. I'm just Fortnite dancing. All right, we're getting to the pregnancy portion of the fic. All right, Matt was hungry, ravenous. He was sitting at a table for two at Ye Old Steakhouse. His companion at the table was Madison, who, thankfully, was as pretty as her pictures, with shiny chestnut hair and big doe-like brown eyes. Man, I've seen the eyes of a doe. They're not that pretty looking. Like they're big and round and like bulging, and they like glisten wetly. I would rather like a beautiful woman's eyes be like human sized and like not be like wet and dripping and stuff. Do not click itsaboy.exe. Do not click that. When am I playing it? I don't know. Depends on if it's a boy or a girl. I have to get through my first pregnancy, or not my first. I have to get through the current pregnancy. A for effort, by the way, Cheryl. Clicking the unsuspiciously named "You're having a baby in your male body.exe." Clueless. Nothing could go wrong here. Clueless. This was their first date, but Matt was having a hard time focusing on the required chit-chat because he was so hungry. He realized he had scooted the breadbasket in front of it and had been mindlessly gnawing his way through the rolls. "I'm sorry. Would you like some bread?" he said, forcing himself to push the basket in her direction. No thanks, she said with an awkward grin. "I'm watching my carbs." Glistening wetly is a description. I mean, that's like the eyes of a doe. Have you seen if you see the eyes of a doe or a deer up close, them's are some slick orbs. You know, those are some juicy peepers, right? That shit is wet and wild. I would much rather like the woman that I'm with not have like slimy little eyeballs. All eyes are wet if they weren't, you'd be in trouble. Yeah, but they're not wet enough to where it's like obvious by looking at them. Cows have very pretty eyes. Cows used to be the old-time description for pretty eyes. I mean, pretty, yes, but I feel like when I think of the eyes of those animals, I always think of them as like really like, you know what it is? Maybe because they're so much bigger, that you could just see the fluid on them more easily. We know you glisten. Everybody knows. No, people don't know that I glisten. Well, okay, number one, I don't glisten. Number one, I don't fucking glisten, okay? Two, not everybody knows just because you say that. Also, Frog, I hate that emote combination. That's awful. Thank you for the sippy shade, Koneko. Thank you for the timer. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Mwah. Thank you. Like when the woman you're with is sort of coated in a caviar-like jelly, but it's all eyes. That's my bit. That's my shtick. God, what was I doing? I'm reading an Mpreg. Fucking Five Nights at Freddy's fic. Alright, Freudian slip. Not a Freudian slip. It's not true. That is unso. That is unso. "No thanks," she said with an awkward grin. I'm watching my carbs." "Not me, obviously," Matt said, trying for humor as he tore off another chunk of bread with his teeth. "Stop, Cheryl, that's awful!" Ugh, Cheryl, no. Do not. Do not. What was this? Roll number 4, number 5? The server appeared. Before she could even ask them for their order, Matt said, "Porterhouse steak, very rare, with a loaded baked potato and cream spinach on the side. And let's get a refill on this bread basket, too." "And for you, ma'am?" Server turned to Madison. Matt figured this was a subtle jab at him, a reminder that he was supposed to have the lady order first. But he was far too hungry to care about etiquette. He was so hungry that it felt like a medical emergency. "The Cobb salad, please, with blue dressing on the side." "Hello, Billy," Madison said. Matt hoped the server would hurry back with that new breadbasket before he started trying to eat the tablecloth. "You know, I've always wondered," he said. "You girls always order salads when you're out on dates. Like you don't want a guy saying you eat too much. When you go out with your girlfriends, do you order something else? Like a big plate of ribs or something?" Ribs, Matt thought. Ribs sound delicious. Madison smiled. "It depends on how hungry I am. Sometimes I go out with my best friend. We split a burger and fries." "You split a burger and fries? That's just like an appetizer or something." I mean, to be fair, nobody eats half a burger. Who the, like, really? Obviously, the doe's eyes is no thoughts, head empty. I mean, that's also the only thing you see in my eyes, too. But hey, who's counting, right? Honestly, like, if there was one burger left on planet Earth and it was me and one other guy standing in front of the last burger on Earth, I would beat that man to death with my bare fucking hands rather than split that burger. One, nobody eats half a fucking burger. Two, if it's the last burger on planet Earth, you better believe I'm gonna eat it. Alright, I'll with my bare goddamn hands. It's not really. Madison giggled. It's really not. Half a cheeseburger is plenty. And girls can't eat like you guys can. If I look at a piece of cheesecake, I gain 5 pounds. So I'm not glistening and I don't sparkle. And I'm not a Twilight vampire. I'm being slandered. Slandered in my own chat. Stop it. No. Matpat is turning into a goat trying to eat the cloth. Matpat is... let's keep reading. Cheesecake for dessert. Matt definitely wanted cheesecake. He rarely ordered dessert, but he was going for it tonight. Stop, he told himself. Stop obsessing over food and notice your date. Well, he said finally, whatever you're doing, you should keep on doing it because you look fantastic. Thanks, she said, smiling. Good, Matt thought. When in doubt, give a compliment. It always smooths things over. I thought I would tote share the burger in hopes that he would help with building our work. No. If it's me and you as the 2 last human beings on Earth, and we're sat in front of the last burger on Earth, I'll beat you to death, eat the last burger, and then throw myself off a cliff. The fitting end to the American species. The fitting end to the American empire. You know, last man dies with the last burger. Satisfying my male pregnancy cravings myself with some cheese? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Ooh, failure on the Mpreg again soup, for effort. When the food arrived, Matt felt like a starving lumberjack. The rare steak sat in an appetizing pool of blood, and when Matt cut into it, the meat was a purpley red. I think I just heard it moo, Matt said as he held a dripping chunk of meat to his lips. Well, you won't hear it long because it's going to be in my belly, Matt said. The nearly raw meat was delicious, so intensely so that Matt closed his eyes as he chewed. He ignored the vegetables on his plate and sawed into the meat over and over again, cutting off big chunks that filled his cheeks as he chewed. He resented how the knife and fork slowed down his eating. Really, it would make much more sense just to pick up the steak and rend off chunks with his canines. That's what they were for, weren't they? Oh, Woozle, you fucked it up. You could just tell me you'd walk away from the burger. You ain't gonna die for no food. Hey, you know, all I'm saying is nobody eats half a burger, man. But Frog, I would let you live. I would be willing to let you live. I think, yes. If you try to fight me for that burger, it will be to the death, though. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. That's just how it has to go, you know? Table manners, all the rules of etiquette, really were just ways to delay the body getting what it needed. And Matt's body needed this meat. He wasn't quite sure when he picked up the large T-bone from the center of the steak and started gnawing, growling it to himself with animal pleasure. But then he felt Madison's eyes on him. She was sitting across from him, holding a forkful of lettuce in midair, staring at him like he was an exhibit in a zoo. Then he felt the eyes of the other customers at the tables as well. He set down the bone. I went to the doctor the other day, he lied. He said I was terribly anemic. I must have needed this red meat something fierce. You must have, Madison said, reaching into her handbag, put out her phone, and looked at it for a second. Oh no, she said. I just got a text from my roommate. My cat is sick. I have to go. Thanks for dinner. Get owned, Matpat. Fuck you. She didn't stick around long enough to hear Matt say, I'll call you. Why couldn't he satisfy this bottomless hunger? His steak was gone now, and so were the baked potato and creamed spinach. He reached across the table for the rest of Madison's mostly uneaten salad. It would be a shame for it to go to waste. This is... I mean, I know this is a male pregnancy story, so it's going to be a fetish story anyway, but this is... We're really cramming in a couple different fetishes here, really, aren't we? There's a couple things going on right now. As Matt got undressed for his bedtime shower, he caught a glimpse of his reflection in the bathroom mirror and almost didn't recognize himself. His belly was definitely bigger. Ooh. He was bloated from the enormous dinner he had eaten at the steakhouse, but this seemed more than standard post-meal bloat. He looked at his handsome face and shrugged. What were a few more pounds? He was still looking good, and historically, being a man with a little extra weight was a sign of prosperity. Matt woke up with a goal that was crystal clear in its simplicity, to make it to the bathroom before it was too late. He threw off the covers and ran, then spewed the remains of last night's huge and expensive dinner into the porcelain bowl. He retched and gagged long after there was nothing left to bring up. Strangely, he still felt bloated afterwards, and his belly was still distended. Was this some kind of weird virus, the symptoms of which were cycles of extreme nausea, followed by extreme hunger? If it was a virus, it was certainly hanging on a long time. He would have to ask people at work if they ever heard of anybody else having the same symptoms. Matt, are you feeling okay? Jamie asked as they sat in the conference room waiting for the meeting to start. Her brow was knitted in a look of concern, but Matt doubted that it was genuine. Oh, it's just this bug I'm having a hard time fighting off, Matt said. The smell of the coffee in the room, usually one of his favorite aromas, was nauseating. I'm either nauseated or starving, and I'm bloated and gassy. Do you know of any viruses with these symptoms going around? I don't, Jamie said. And I know all about the bugs because I have kids who bring them in school who bring them home. She smiled. Seriously though, maybe you should have a doctor check you out. You're definitely bloated and your color doesn't look good. You're kind of yellowish, like you might have jaundice. Maybe you should get some blood work done and get your liver function just to be on the safe side. Oh, doctors don't know anything. Man, you're also making Matpat an anti-vaxxer. You've male pregnancy Matpat. You've made him an anti-vaxxer. You've made him a chauvinist. You've done him so bad. You've character assassination. Gary walked in, which had the negative effect of starting the meeting, but the positive effect of ending any other conversation. Good morning, Gary said, taking his place at the head of the conference table. Well, the release date is in 2 weeks, and the reviews are from early screening copies of the game are in, and the results are mixed. Jamie let out a little sigh. According to the reviewers, the storyline is good, the gameplay is challenging, and the number of jump scares is consistent with what Fnaf fans expect. He cleared his throat. However, every single reviewer agreed on one fact. The AI design of Springtrap is sloppy, and not up to the game's usual standards. Gary didn't call Matt out by name, but he might as well have. With Springtrap's bizarre series of regenerations and death after Matt had left him to wander the maze, Matt had really needed to rush to create a new AI plugin to plug into the game. But he had been confident that despite the last-minute nature of the work, he had still done a good job. Well, good enough anyway. Oh, is that what reviewers are saying? Matt said, his face heated up with anger. Are you gonna tell me who these people are, or are they really just you? Hey, Gary said, holding his hands up as if defending himself. No need to get all riled up. I'm just saying that this is a competitive climate. No one can afford to be doing anything but their best work. I always do my best work, Matt said, raising his voice. In fact, I would be doing some of it right now if you weren't wasting my time in this pointless meeting. Jamie reached out to touch Matt's arm, but he jerked it away. I know these meetings take away time that you would use from work and think, Gary said, and I promise this one won't last long. But after the meeting, Matt, as you are working and thinking, I would suggest one of the things that you think about, things you should think about is the appropriate way to talk to your supervisor. Matt drove home in a rage. He broke the speed limit by double digits and powered through red lights. Let a cop pull me over, he thought. Just let him. Both anger and hunger were gnawing at him, even as he was so bloated and gassy. It felt like a pinprick to his stomach would cause it to pop like a balloon. When he drove by a burger joint, the smell of hot grease lured him to turn in. He went through the drive-thru and ordered a double bacon cheeseburger, large fries, and a chocolate shake. Food that he would generally dismiss as too unhealthy for human consumption. Not wanting to have to slow down his eating because he was also driving, he pulled into a parking space and devoured the greasy meat and carbs like a ravenous wolverine. His hunger subsided some. His anger did not. When he got to the apartment, Jason was packing video games from his shelf into a cardboard box. Other filled boxes were scattered across the floor. What's going on? Matt asked, though he had a feeling he knew. Listen, man, Jason said, not looking up at him. Megan finally told me what you did. Can we have some fries? You can absolutely have some fries. Mal friends, let's go to the drive-thru. We'll get whatever you want. We'll go to McDonald's. I'll take you to the drive-thru. It'll be great. We'll have fun. Love me horror, love me McDonald's. Hello, first hour. Welcome in. We are reading... Ice Cream Machine broke jump scare. Unfortunately so. We are reading Five Nights at Freddy's Matpat Mpreg pregnancy fic right now. But we will get back to another horror story after this. You want a McChicken? You can have whatever you want. I'll get you a Happy Meal if you want a toy too. You saying it because that stupid chatter below thing? Yeah, I might have to tweak that one because that one does kind of kill the chat. But I think it's too funny. You want a plain McChicken? I mean, listen, you can get whatever you want. You know, I'm a good Mal father, right? For the Mal friends, I'm a good Mal father, right? I'll get whatever you want, okay? Okay, Matt said, Megan finally told me what you did. She said she almost didn't because we're roommates, but then she decided I needed to know. She said you hit on her when you were supposed to be getting to know Eva. You gave her your number when you knew she was on a date with me. Not cool, man. Okay, Matt said, if you want me to apologize, I'll apologize. He didn't see the need for an apology, though. He hadn't been trying to forcibly take Megan away from Jason. He'd just been presenting her with choices. Jason shook his head. See, that's just it. I don't want you to apologize. I want you to stop being a jerk. But unfortunately, I don't see that ever happening. So I'm moving out. You spent our whole meal the other night talking about how prosperous and successful you are, right before you left us with the bill. You don't need my help with the rent. You can afford this place without me. I can, Matt said, but I want you to stay. He didn't know why, but he had a sudden desperate need to not be alone, because you're pregnant, man. You're a pregnant man. It was a vague but persistent feeling that if he were left alone, something bad would happen. Yeah, and Eva wanted you to be nice to her, but she didn't get that wish either. She's a super nice person, Matt. She deserved better. Yeah, you fixed me up with the girl with the great personality, Matt said, laughing bitterly. You kept the pretty one for yourself. Jason threw up his hands. Okay, look, I can't have this conversation right now. I'm leaving. Tonight, I'm borrowing a truck from a buddy. I'll come back in the morning and get my stuff while you're at work. I think it's best if you and I stay out of each other's ways for a while. Jason grabbed his keys and was out the door. Matt got a beer from the fridge and sat down on the couch. How had things gotten so bad so fast? He didn't really need to ask. You can't have a beer, you're pregnant! It's bad for the baby! No, you can't have a beer, put it away! Put it away! Just get to the good part until it's half 2 a.m. must pass out and see the fucking masterpiece. Churl's double pregnant now. Churl's having twins. But, you know, he can handle it. He's a big boy. It was the rabbit. He couldn't explain it, but somehow the rabbit is to blame. The beer tasted sour and unpleasant, and Matt felt the sickly blooming of a headache above his right temple. He reached out to massage his head and felt a hard knob pushing against his scalp. Was it possible that he had gotten hit in the head hard enough for a knot to form and he didn't remember it? And if he didn't remember it, what did that mean? Sorry, Churl. Yeah. Churl bit that bullet. Churl bit the bullet for the rest of you. So Churl has wonderful. I'm sure you have beautiful childbearing hips. I'm sure you do. Okay, I'm sure you do. It's okay. What was I doing? Where was I? Where was I? What the fuck? That he had some kind of brain injury that was causing him to lose his mind, or maybe it was his physical health, not his mental health. He should be worried about. Matt needed someone to talk about his problems, but there was no one. Hannah had abandoned him, a string of ungrateful girlfriends had abandoned him, and now Jason, his best friend, had abandoned him. As if that wasn't all bad enough, he was unappreciated and criticized at work. Perhaps such loneliness was the sad price to pay for his brilliance. Like so many geniuses before him, he was isolated and misunderstood. For the first time in his adult life, Matt found himself crying real tears. God damn it, they did him so bad. Matt couldn't fasten his pants. Yesterday they had been a tight fit, but still a fit. But today they were impossible. Today he had lounged around in pajama pants all day, but now, trying to fit into real pants, it was apparent that his belly had swollen such that his size 34 waistline was only a fond memory. We are very pregnant right now. He tried another, more forgiving pair, and then another, all to no avail. The discarded pants lay strewn on his bed. The problem was that he had a date in a few minutes, and while he did find the rules of etiquette to be stupid and oppressive, he did accept the fact that a public date generally required one to wear pants. He dug through the size and found a size 36 in the very back. He stepped into them, but they still wouldn't fasten over his belly. Finally, he pulled them down below the mountainous swelling and managed to zip them up. The buttons still wouldn't close, but he managed to secure them with a belt. It wasn't the ideal situation, but it would have to do. Matt had arranged to meet his new date, another internet acquaintance, in a bar. This way, he reasoned, if the date turned out to be as disastrous as his last ones, at least he wouldn't have to pay for dinner. The bar was one of those sleek, modern places favored by young urban professionals. Can I get a hell yeah for women? Hell yeah, Big Book of Bug. Hell yeah, welcome in. Yeah, welcome in Big Book of Bug. We're reading Matpat Mpreg Fnaf fanfiction right now. Unfortunately, we weren't able to play our Total War Warhammer Woman campaign. We're going to do that tomorrow. But we are going to read Male Pregnancy tonight, I guess. All chrome and glass and indirect lighting. Walking in, he caught his reflection in one of the many mirrors and was momentarily startled. His belly was so bloated that the buttons of his shirt was straining, the gaps between the buttons revealing his yellowish skin. His face and hair were drenched in sweat. And was it his imagination, or was his hair also getting thinner? Yeah, exactly. It's official fiction? Okay, fine. Official fiction. Ooh, congratulations on the pregnancy bug. Congratulations. You too are pregnant now. Good job. Still, Matt knew that he had a lot more going for him than any of the losers in this bar. Emma, that was the new girl's name, right? Emma was lucky to be going out with him. Wow. He didn't recognize her at first. She was sitting at a table alone and gave him a little wave. Her face was pretty, like he remembered it being on the dating site, and so was her honey blonde hair. But the picture she used on the site must have been taken a good 25 pounds ago. This girl was chunky. Yeah, Bug got hit. I have not been hit at all. You guys have been trying all day, and for once I'm being defended by pregnant Matpat. You know, he's taking those bullets instead of I. You know. He probably could. It was a good thing he hadn't committed taking her out to dinner. He probably couldn't afford to feed her. Well, it was too late to slip out now. She had already spotted him. He pasted on a smile and went up to the table. Emma? Matt. She smiled broadly and gestured for him to sit down. So what are we drinking? Appletini? Big and round. You are indeed big and round. Hashtag big and round, bub. Big book of big and round. Ooh, and another pregnancy for man opener. Already was. Congratulations. Well, I hope you're happy with twins. One fruity girl drink coming up. Let me go converse with the barkeep. Man, always a fucking nerd says, let me go converse with the barkeep. Pat your flat tummy. I'm sorry I wasn't there to Mpreg you. Don't pat my tummy. Don't pat my flat belly. He went to the bar and ordered the girl drink. Hold on. Ordered the capital G girl, capital D drink, the capital girl drink for Emma, and a martini for himself. It was strong, but he had a feeling he was going to need it to get through this date. Cheryl's having twins. Ohm was expecting. Now bugging, man. I guess we better start building a nursery. Yeah, you know this is the night for it though. You know, hashtag women, hashtag pregnancy. Oh, and a bubby down on top of it all. Yum, thank you, Emma said when he set down the toxic-looking green drink in front of her. Thanks for picking out this place. It's really cool. I'm ashamed to admit I don't get out much. Most nights after work, I just put on my pajamas and watch Netflix and eat a gallon of ice cream, Matt thought, but he just smiled and nodded. Yeah, sometimes I just end up hanging out with my roommate and playing video games. Then, Matt said, then he remembered Jason wasn't his roommate anymore. Yay, smiley, unfortunate face. Yeah, I think we're lucky because we're reading the pregnancy story, so now I don't have to get pregnant. Finally, it's not about me. Then he remembered Jason wasn't his roommate anymore. No need to tell her that, though. He had already decided he was never going to see her again. Well, you're a video game developer, she said, sipping her cocktail. So when you hang out and play video games, that's like research, right? He managed a strange smile. Something was happening in his abdomen. Pressure was building in an unpleasant... Yeah, very popular drink, a girl drink, exactly. Something was happening in his abdomen. Pressure was building in an unpleasant way. Almost like a force was pushing his belly from the inside. He took a sip of his martini, which hit his stomach like battery acid. He must have grimaced because Emma said, "Are you okay?" Sure, he said, but he wasn't. He felt like he was going to burst, like an overripe berry. He couldn't sit here and make polite chit-chat. But let me just go ahead and tell you right now this isn't going to work out. So enjoy your drink. I'm going to say goodnight. Now wait just a second, Emma said. You barely even talked to me. It's way too soon to figure out whether you think I'm an interesting person or not. So tell me, how do you know this isn't going to work out? Was she going to force him to say it? Apparently she was. Okay, Emma, I'm sure you have a great personality, but when you post a picture of yourself on a dating site, it needs to look like you, not you 25 pounds ago. Emma's mouth dropped open. I can't believe you have the nerve to say that to me. First of all, it's shallow and offensive. But second of all, have you looked in the mirror lately? Feel free. They're everywhere in this place. Your picture online is at least 35 pounds ago. Did I notice that when you came in? Sure. But it didn't bother me. What does bother me is that you're a gigantic hypocrite. Fine. Well, I think the one thing we can mutually agree on is that this date is over. Matt stood up and then he heard an odd pop, 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 pop sound as though someone was making popcorn. Then he felt a cool breeze over his torso. Looking down, he realized his bloated belly has caused all of the buttons of his shirt to pop off and was now exposed for the general public to see. Given the evil rabbit robo baby fetal alcohol syndrome, I mean, if there's any fetal syndrome to have, alcohol is the best one, right? If I had to pick one. Emma laughed. Emma laughed so hard she snorted. She laughed until her eyes watered. I can't believe it, she said between giggles. This is the best bad date ever. Wait till I tell my girlfriends. Matt tried to clutch his shirt closed and fled the premises. As soon as he hit the sidewalk, the pressure from his belly snapped his belt buckle, and he had to hold his pants with the other hand to keep them from falling down. He relinquished his grip on his shirt long enough to get into his car. He just needed to get home so this terrible night would be over. I get why they made him such a huge, irredeemable asshole the whole time. Was it so that we wouldn't feel bad for him when he had, like, this grotesque rabbit robot baby explode out of his stomach? You know? Like, I get why they made him such a jerk, but it makes it feel so awful. When's the mouth crack baby PNG dropping? One, I don't do crack. Two, we have an image here. Let me see if I can find it. I'm not sure what it is, actually. I have a lot of images that are not titled in this. What is this one? There's that. I don't know what this one is. What is this? There's that. There's this one. What are you? Oh, this is what I was talking about. About the weird bulldog breeding program. We gotta put me on crack. I can't get any thinner. I can't lose any more weight. I'll probably get sick. Back in his apartment, Matt changed into a baggy t-shirt and a pair of elastic waisted pajama pants. Tomorrow he would have to go shopping for new clothes, but what could he wear while he shopped? Was he going to turn into one of those tacky people who wore pajamas in public? The pressure in his stomach was getting worse, and the weird knot on his head was hurting when it was stretching the skin of his scalp. Maybe he had medicine that might help him. He went to the kitchen, chewed up a couple of antacid tablets, and drank a glass of water. He waited for relief, but it didn't come. We gotta get you big and round. You've been trying all night! That's what the Mpreg command is for! You've been trying all night, but it's not working. A for effort. Even the soft t-shirt he was wearing felt irritating. He took it off and looked down at his watermelon-shaped belly. The pressure from inside was pounding, pummeling. He looked at the skin of his belly. There was movement underneath. When he felt the pounding, a faint imprint of an indeterminate shape showed up on his skin. Oh, another reversal! Now Soup is pregnant. I think there's a cooldown on it, Woozle, so just careful. Try it again in a second. Matt stifled a scream as he realized the truth. Something was inside him, and it was trying to get out. The painful pounding became more insistent, a drumbeat of agony. If it was out of him, whatever it was, the pain would stop. Get it out, he thought as he squeezed his eyes shut and clenched his jaw. He grabbed his discarded t-shirt and bit down on the fabric just to have some kind of outlet for the pain. If he got it out, the pain would stop. But how? There was no place for it to go. Another surge of pain hit him, this one crushing. He doubled over and grabbed the kitchen counter for support. His gaze turned to the kitchen knives, hanging on a magnetic strip in the wall. He could cut it out. Cutting would relieve the pressure and get whatever it was out. He would be free, whatever this burden was. He wanted to be free. He grabbed the largest, sharpest kitchen knife and lay on his back on the floor. Starting the incision was the hardest part, but the pain inside him was greater than any pain he could cause himself. He sank the knife's tip into the top of his abdomen and then drew the blade downward, biting down on the t-shirt so the neighbors wouldn't hear him scream. There was pain, but there was also relief. The pressure stopped, the blood flowed, and Matt saw, emerging from the incision, one long, green rabbit ear. The whole rabbit emerged, wet and slimy with mucus, a perfectly formed spring trap, the size of a healthy, newborn infant. But unlike a newborn infant, the rabbit could pull itself out of the incision, land in a kneeling position on the kitchen floor, and then rise to stand. The blood loss was making Matt fade in and out of consciousness, but even in his addled state, he could see that the creature he had spawned was Springtrap. But somehow, not Springtrap. This one was realer, more organic than the one in the video game. Matt drifted back to a story his mom had read to him when he was little, about a stuffed toy rabbit that had wished so hard to be real that it became real. The Springtrap that stood over Matt's bleeding body was not an amalgamation of code that somebody like him had programmed into a computer. The Springtrap was real. The green rabbit sat down on the floor beside Matt and rested Matt's head in its furry lap. It felt nice. Matt was losing so much blood. Could a person lose this much blood and survive? Thank you for the sippy, Shade Kaneko. Could a person lose this much blood and still stay alive? The rabbit stroked Matt's cheek. Matt didn't know if he heard the word come out of the rabbit's mouth, or if it was only in his own head. Daddy. So you entered the apartment and you found him like this? The police officer was taking notes as they talked in the blood-drenched kitchen. Yes, officer. Jason was shaking, and he could feel his heart thudding in his chest. I was moving out of the apartment, and I came here about 10 o'clock to get my stuff. 10 a.m.? The officer asked. Yes, sir. I thought Matt would be at work, but instead I found him here. He heard the sob in his voice. He was trying to hold it together, but he wasn't succeeding. So you were roommates, but you were moving out of the apartment, the officer said. Had you had a disagreement? Yeah, kind of, but just a little one. Nothing that would lead me to do something like this. And I mean, I'm not a violent person. I could never do something like this anyway. Jason wished that someone would cover up the body, but even when they did, he knew he couldn't unsee it. Matt was gutted like a fish, his shirtless torso a gaping hole. Blood had gushed from the sides of the wound and now formed a large, congealing puddle on the kitchen floor. The now bloody kitchen knife Jason had used countless times to chop vegetables was in Matt's lifeless hand. Did your roommate have any enemies? Anyone who would wish him ill? The officer asked. Well, I mean, Matt was a prickly guy, not always the easiest person to get along with. but just because he could be annoying doesn't mean that anybody wanted him dead. The officer nodded. Had he shown any signs of depression or suicidal thoughts? I think he was kind of depressed, yeah, Jason said. He'd had a nasty divorce and breakups from a few rebound relationships after that. I also got the feeling there was a lot of stress at work, though he wasn't the kind of person who talked about that thing much. Jason looked down at his friend's body. It was the last thing he wanted to see, so why did he keep looking at it? Why would someone do this to themselves? The officer looked up from his notes. Well, son, in my line of work, you never stop being surprised about what people are capable of. He looked down at the body, then squinted as if he was seeing something he hadn't noticed before. He put on a plastic glove and then squatted on the floor, reaching for something. It was a clump of something green and fuzzy, like the artificial fur from a stuffed animal. Do you have any idea what this could be? The officer asked. Jason looked at the unfamiliar green fur. It was covered in an unpleasant slime, like a clear mucus. I have no idea, Jason said. The officer rolled slimy hairs between his finger and thumb, looking at them with apparent confusion, then shrugged, wiped his hand on a clean paper towel. And that was it. That was Mpreg, Matpat, Fnaf. Alright, Kino. How much blood could you lose before you perished? Never, because I never lose. I would never lose any blood. Alright. Do we want to read a different story now? And then what I'm thinking is we can try one more story. We'll do a Shirley Jackson story, and then we'll try, and then we'll probably end stream. Then we'll probably be done. Because I do want to do Total War tomorrow. I want to do a bonus stream because we weren't able to do it tonight, so I want to do a Total War. Oh, Scholarly Frog with the first successful pregnancy. Thank you, Scholarly Frog. Frog won. Frog got our very first successful pregnancy. Rated on a scale of 1 to 10. I'll give it a solid 4. I'll give it a solid 4 because it was just like, it was so unrelentingly mean to Matpat, to the point where it was just like, it was so unrelentingly insulting, and it was also just not good. It was just bad. It was just bad. It was literally like, it was tense. It was like, okay, I will say, if I hadn't known it was an Mpreg fic, then I think it would have had a better twist. If I was just told to read it and didn't know it was Mpreg, then I would have probably been like, oh, that's a better twist. That's a more interesting twist, right? But the fact that I knew it was coming just kind of made it like a slog to get through. Best story, W but L for Matpat. Also, you got a good night. All right, take it easy, Soup. Thanks for hopping in. You know what? I think we're gonna end it on this. If I'm gonna stream tomorrow, so I'll probably go to bed early tonight. I think we'll end it on the Matpat Mpreg story, and we will try doing some Warhammer tomorrow if the internet's better. Okay? I think that's what we're gonna do. Let's go raid somebody. We're gonna end on the pregnancy fic. Haven't had to listen to a gory description like that in a while. You handle those poorly. Yeah, it did get a little visceral right at the end, right? I hope I delivered it well. I hope it was good. Flowers live. Let's Salad Forest is live. Who else is here? Let's go say hi to. I will eat. I promise I will go eat. Yes, I have to eat dinner too. Let's see. Who haven't we said hi to in a while? Kiss. Kiss for you. Kiss for you, Scholarly Frog. Scholarly Frog. Let's go say hi to Salad Forest. Yeah, you end stream, yeah. Alright, we're gonna go say hi to Salad Forest. You could tell Salad that we were reading Matpat, Fnaf, Mpreg, or whatever it is you guys want to tell him. Alright, I'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully with better internet, hopefully with some Total War. We'll do a regular length stream tomorrow.